And then it's a college football Saturday, but it got going in a really good fashion last night. We talked about that yesterday, Patrick. We thought Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State may end up being a really good game last night. That is exactly what we got with a field goal to win it by Appalachian State. 30-27. Chase Bryce goes for 347 yards. Appalachian State knocks off number 14 Coastal Carolina, and that Boone, North Carolina Magic. It was all over the place. You kind of called it cold weather.
Yep.
Great football game, long football game, but great football game to get us going on a football weekend. Major League Baseball was in full effect last night, and Braves fans, maybe it was Patrick Perett's pep talk at the end of the show. Maybe it was just the Braves shaking off years of giving you heartache and failure. But the Braves looked good last night, 9-2. Gave you a little scare.
Go to the World Series.
Fifth inning, I think was right. I was kind of flipping back and forth when the Dodgers put up 2 runs on some questionable decisions there by the Braves. But 9-2 last night. The Braves look to close out the series tonight. 8 o'clock, TBS. You got that game going. The Astros last night yesterday afternoon, pummeling the Red Sox, Patrick, 9-1. Our buddy Brian Glenn probably just curled up underneath the covers this morning, afraid to come out. 18 runs from the Astros in the last 2 days. They will head back to Houston for Game 6 on Friday. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, is Houston will look to close out that series. That's what gets us going this morning here at the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, Jen Jensen, hope you are up and doing well this morning. Plenty of ways for you to join us. We've got the phone lines. Gamecock Larry is already on the phone line. You can do so as well. 803-404-6100. How you can join us on the Love Chevy phone lines. You can always join us with an opinion or a hot take on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. 803-404-6100. Richard, Ron from Lake Marion, and Nick already offering hot takes. Nick is fired up. He used all capital letters this morning. Good morning. How about them Braves? Nick says. Yes, Nick, congratulations to the Braves. 3 games.
Congratulations on going to the World Series.
Oh, Patrick's pulling out the jinx this morning. He is already going for the jinx. Ron,
couldn't be a better time to be an Atlanta sports fan now.
Ron from Lake Marion last night. Nice recovery. Rosario is on fire. Love to see the bats get hot. Hopefully that continues one more game, is what he says. So you have the Braves weighing in, and Richard weighing in on the Cool Care Heating and Air play calling. Coastal offensive play calling was about as good as South Carolina last night. Played like they were scared and not sure why it took so long to try and make adjustments to Williams, the slot receiver, Malik Williams. But Appalachian State just had their number and couldn't move the ball after the first quarter. We'll talk a little bit about that game. It was entertaining. The Braves and the Red Sox. Again, you can weigh in this morning. The Cool Care Heating and Air text line, the Love Chevy phone line. The live stream is up and running. We got that going, and we will continue to get that going throughout the morning, where you can jump in and join the fun and the excitement that is always the early game here on 107.5. Again, we got a busy morning for you this morning. We've got a lot going coming up. At about 7:45 this morning, we'll be joined by Dr. Dumont of Prisma Orthopedic. Get a little background on some injuries that he wants to discuss and what is going on there. Coming up at 8:20 a.m. this morning, Brian Edwards with Vegas Insider. He picked some pretty good games last week. He will join us this morning to discuss his picks for this coming weekend. And then at 8:40 this morning, Darlington President Kerry Tharp joining us. Jen, I believe I'm still in pretty good shape. Nobody winning last week in our pick'em contest. A bunch of bad picks all the way around. You guys continued your season-long trend of picking poorly. I had a slip-up last week. Is that how it went? Am I right on that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There you go. The lovely Jen Jensen joining us this morning with just sauciness right there. Just pure sauciness there as we talk. Yes, gambling is. I guess that's why I'm heading out to Vegas this week. The NASCAR luck is heading to the blackjack table and the craps table as well. So it will be an entertaining weekend to see if all that continues on. 803-404-6100. How you can join us again this morning. Busy morning coming up. 7:40. Dr. Guion Dumont joining us from Prisma Orthopedic. 8:20. Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider joining us to give his picks for the weekend. And 8:40. Darlington President Kerry Tharp. So we've got all that going. Again, the live stream up and running already. You can weigh in as well. Laura and Troy already out and about on the live stream, wishing everybody a wonderful morning and happy Coffee Thursday. Plenty of people weighing in. Rooster P says, morning from Arkansas. Jen keeps the show on course. Patrick likes turkey legs, and Gunner has a horseshoe strategically placed when it comes to his NASCAR picks. I don't know if that's necessarily true, Patrick. I think I'm just a sports talk show host who knows a thing or two about NASCAR picks.
Who did you pick last week?
Truex Jr.
Who won?
Not Truex Jr.
Who won the race?
Somebody. They drove fast.
You are. I'm sorry. Let's go.
I think it was Kyle somebody.
You are the NASCAR expert, and you don't know who won.
Hey, if you're not first, you're last, and Truex Jr. was not first. That's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who was first? That was the question.
Kyle Larson.
Last week it was
Kyle
Larson. Kyle Larson, my usual pick. Probably should have gone with him.
Pick. Oh
yeah.
My gosh, you've been on you and your girlfriend Denny Hamlin have been together for a long time this season. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn until after the postseason started, and now he's like just tearing it up.
You gotta know how to pick him. Troy weighing in. Thank you, Troy, for helping me with Kyle Larson on the live stream. LeVar, good morning to you. Josh, good morning. So we've got plenty going on for you to join in the fun this morning. Again, pretty fun afternoon. The games, aside the football game was competitive. Patrick, you get a chance to watch much of Coastal Appalachian State yesterday?
Not as much as I would have liked to. I actually had to stop watching. I thought Coastal was going to run away with it at 14-0. I saw the touchdown and the onside kick, and then the bomb right after that, and I had to leave right after the Chase Bryce bomb immediately following the onside kick.
Grayson McCall last night, 15 of 23 for 291 yards and a touchdown, but he gets out-dueled by the 12th-year senior Chase Bryce, who's just kind of touring all of college football, basically. Clemson, Duke, Appalachian State, 18 of 28 for 347 yards last night was the statistics for him. Nate Noel, 16 carries, 82 yards. Cameron Peoples with a couple big runs, including a long touchdown. He had 2 of those, 7 carries for 58 yards. Again, in a weekend where we don't expect we don't have a lot of great games, maybe we get some upsets, maybe we get some really fun games this weekend. I kind of circled this one at the beginning of the week as maybe one of the better games, and it featured scoring. It featured, you mentioned the onside kick that really turned the momentum in that game early last night, second quarter. Appalachian State had scored to cut it to 14-7. They go for the onside kick over on the right side. They're able to pounce on it.
Just a heady play. They saw the special teams. That's why it's great to be a special teams coach. That's all you have to pay attention to. You can just coast through the game, or you can just break down the film of kickoff after kickoff and say, you know what? There's a little bit of a gap right here. If we just kind of knock it towards the sideline, and 10 to 15 yards down the field, we can just jump right on it. And it was perfect.
It was actually
perfectly drawn up, perfectly executed.
And yes, it changed. And look, Coastal still had opportunities. Appalachian State gets the ball at the end of the first half. Coastal's up 17-14, and Appalachian State has a weird clock management situation. You didn't get to see that. You didn't see that. You had already left your house yet. Appalachian State kind of poorly handled trying to drive down to maybe tie it right before half or even take the lead. They ended up fumbling on a short pass over the middle. They got picked up. Coastal Carolina had to just settle for a field goal to go into halftime 20-14. And certainly from there, Appalachian State was able to take control, grab the lead in the second, or tie the ball game in the third quarter, and then kick the fourth quarter game-winning field goal. Appalachian State students streamed onto the field. So a very, very fun game last night if you stayed up and watched it. And again, as the Braves pulled away from the Dodgers there 9-2, it became more and more of something to watch. 803-404-6100. If you stayed up and you wanted to weigh in on that game last night, you can do so. Our buddy Jim in Carolina Beach says, I sure wish Chase Bryce was still at Clemson. Go Tigers, beat Pittsburgh. Good morning to Jim in Carolina Beach. Let's go out to our resident picker, our prediction maker, Gamecock Larry, who is waiting patiently on the Love Chevy phone lines. Good morning, Larry. How are you doing? What's on your mind? Oh. Come back on. Pittsburgh's a 3-point favorite over about 3.5 point favorite over Clemson. Yeah. Pittsburgh. How do you know about Colonel Zeb? We know you're not on Twitter. You got family members telling you about Colonel Zeb? Do we? Jay, okay. It is crazy. Okay. All right, buddy. Whoa.
But this is your favorite show, right?
This is your favorite show, right? This one you're on right now, the one that you're being allowed to speak on. There you go. That we do. We're just trying to make sure it's public knowledge that we're your favorite people and that this is the favorite show. Yeah. And Heath, we're gonna lump Heath in with them as well. You don't like him either. No, you don't like him either. You only like us. Yeah, you did. You just said it. We appreciate it. Oh, there we go. Go Gamecocks. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, he's go get a cup of coffee. Gamecock Larry, up and at him early. Hope you've got Thursday morning Gamecock Larry energy in you. Get up, get out. Let's get a Thursday going. Again, busy morning for us here Got plenty to get to. Dr. Guion DeMont joining us at 7:40 from Prisma Orthopedic. We've got 8:20. Brian Edwards with Vegas Insider and MajorWager.com will be joining us to give his picks for the weekend. So get the pads out, get your pens ready. Let's write down the picks. And then at 8:40 this morning, Kerry Tharp joins to praise me for how good my picks are. That's how it goes, right? Darlington President Kerry Tharp calls in just to tell me how smart I am. Of course. Conversations with Jen off the air. If you want conversations with us on the air, 803-404-6100 is how you can do so. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Super problem.
All right, Patrick, let's see, our mics are working, but we have a computer issue already. Oh, okay, so it's back on.
No, but this is all it's been for 10
Right,
minutes.
yeah. Did you cut it off and then cut it back on?
Yeah, and this is what happened. And then I did it again, and this is what happened.
We are showing no accidents at this time, so we're liking that already this morning. And otherwise, we can add briefly more.
Nothing we can do right now. It's not going to be a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it either comes up or it doesn't.
I don't know what's going to happen. Ed usually does get mad when I turn the computers off.
Brand spanking chicken cluck at local 11 veggie chop and draft or in new Lowe's Foods.
Yeah, Jason, you heard that? Yeah, we just. I mean, the next step is just to drop it. Bounce it around a little bit. That's option number 2. Cut it on, cut it back off. We're very technical around here. Hopefully we'll get that fixed. That's how we get the audio through to y'all.
Gonna be honest.
Although,
I'm not confident.
I mean, I still don't understand how this is running. Oh, because it's running through the computer. We'll just.
I had Larry and Trey.
Well, the computers that it typically runs through, something ain't right. Like it's on a complete black screen.
Okay.
It has something to do like that computer's not even coming up.
So nice. Okay.
So it doesn't really matter right now.
Yeah, there's nothing like.
So phone calls will go back to popping up the queue.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, if you can turn it up, yeah.
I'm not again.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because we have 3 guests today.
Well, maybe the computer woke up right now. It's just got the little blue spinny thing. If the computer comes up in the next hour and a half, quite frankly, we just need the computer to come up by 8 a.m. So
When nothing happens for 15 to 20 straight minutes,
yeah, the odds.
I don't become
The odds are not.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to troubleshoot here.
The power source is down there, right? Someplace else. Like you can unplug it and plug it in right there.
Where?
The power.
Hey, I'd probably turn it off for us. What? Like instead of just unplugging it while it's still on, turn it off, unplug it. Like let it sit
I
for.
didn't know if it would let it actually turn off, or if it's spinning for it when you do that. So, yeah, I tried the power cycle.
So, what are you sipping?
Yeah. Is that an improvement? Or just that? No, that's always came up.
That came up and then it started
I said-
spraying. Instead showing me the login screen.
It did or didn't?
Yeah, this came up last time.
It just never clicked out of it. Just went off.
And then this is like pretty much it. This is the 3rd time I've seen this thing.
Yeah, it'll probably come off in about 8 o'clock.
We had no problems and Jay had no problems, it looks like, because he was logged in.
After one game with the rookie, the Niners will go back to the OG. Jimmy G after missing a game with a calf injury. Jimmy Garoppolo returned to practice Wednesday, and he was on his distance. He'll be able to start Sunday against the Colts. The Niners rookie quarterback Trey Lance is likely out with a knee injury. Elsewhere, Stephon Gilmore practiced for the first time in Tampa Wednesday, 2 weeks after the All-Pro corner was traded from New England, and it was a good day for the Packers. They got All-Pro left tackle David Jones back to practice for the first time since he tore his ACL last New Year's Eve. He is listed as day-to-day.
You're a control of the league.
Green Bay will also be signing former
Oh, there you go.
Is there another button that can like?
No, I'm out of suggestions. We've moved past my IT experience.
Yeah, anybody want to talk us through this in the live stream?
Yeah, Jason's got an idea. Yeah, I would say we're not the most tech savvy over here. I am saying that right. Guillaume Demont. Is it Guillaume or Gion?
Guillaume.
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 Dumont.
Guillaume.
Yeah.
Does it end in an M?
Guillaume.
I think it does.
Guillaume. Guillaume.
Yeah, tech. You're right, Robin. The tech portion of this is, and that's the one downside. The really early show is the engineer doesn't show up until 8 a.m.
Yeah, Guillaume.
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 All right, Guillaume.
Kind
Played
of.
football at Tennessee.
Guillaume.
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 Guillaume. That's what I've been saying, right?
Yeah, you're not saying exactly the same thing.
Guillaume.
There you go.
That's what I've been saying. Well,
That's
not
the best you've said it yet.
Guillaume.
Guillaume.
All kinds of stuff we're working on here.
Guillaume. Guillaume.
What all do we need to cut after the show? I feel like we got to cut a bunch of stuff.
I think it's just sleep numbers.
I think I might have to cut it either today or tomorrow. I might have to cut this like QC Kinetics, which is a brand new thing that I had to sit in on a meeting. I'll explain it later. Another reason for next week because I think it starts next week. I'll give you more details on that later. I got a whole sheet. Because we can cut it tomorrow. We might cut it tomorrow, but odds are at 9:03, I'm going to be like bouncing to get out of here and ready to.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to meet the guys, and then we're trying to hit to get going.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And I'm gonna record any lives you do. I'll record today.
Hey, I got a weird idea that we can try in the next segment.
We're about to come back.
No, I'll show you.
Because this could go into my laptop potentially.
The other cord that's going in the back of the computer. The green one.
This one?
I'm pretty sure it's that one. Yeah. That actually could work too.
It's very long.
You'd have to change the input on the. It's just a thought. If you're paying attention on the live stream, we're doing some tech stuff, and for 3 people who don't do a whole lot of tech stuff, it's been pretty entertaining. Big thank you to Jason on the live stream for offering advice. First it was cut it off, cut it back on. We tried that. Then he told us he kept a big pixel fixer, a big rock right by his desktop just to scare it.
Very good. And I was gonna say when our tech guy has come in and said, well, did you try to, restart it? I honestly have to restrain myself from like lunging at him because it's like, dude, I think we all know at this point what to do.
Yeah.
So
So
I was not about to recommend that to you guys. I figured you knew.
And Robin weighs in, who's a teacher. She says or tells us as a teacher, her tech stuff never works when she needs it to.
Awesome.
sign up times, technology. If you want to weigh in, though, the live stream's still up and running. Again, you can weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100, how you can do so. If you want to weigh in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines this morning and join us. Again, Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State last night. The Braves, we'll talk a little bit about them. Patrick, again, I know you're not necessarily into this, but the Braves are a big part of the culture around here. They certainly are a team that a lot of people has followed. I saw a lot of people on Twitter last night very fired up. 3-1. You get a great performance last night late in the game from the bats to really kind of seal this thing and get it covered. Now, the Braves are still going to win. They've got one more opportunity to do it out in LA tonight, 8:00 on TBS. But last night, 9-2 is how the Braves get the job done. Freddie Freeman 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Rosario 4 for 5 last night. Absolutely phenomenal. 4 RBIs again. 4 for 5 last night for Eddie Rosario. The Braves really getting the job done, especially late. And that's, I think, the thing that scared most people, Patrick, is after they blew the game the other night, the Braves score 4 runs in the ninth, the top half of the ninth, to basically seal the deal and move on and win the game 9-2. Is there any way? Now let's remember Patrick's not a Braves fan, he's a Nationals fan, but is there anything that attracts you to the World Series this year? Would it be a Braves Red Sox if the Red Sox find their way back? The Astros are kind of boring. It's like
well, it's hard to tell out in this area, but the Braves are the one team that's kind of going to ruin the World Series for most of America.
Oh, really?
I really hadn't thought about it that way until I was listening to the DC radio show that I usually listen to yesterday, and that's what they said. They're like, well, Red Sox, Astros will both be interesting. Red Sox, Dodgers, 2 big classic teams, or the Astros and Dodgers would be great because of the Joe Kelly crying earlier this season and the whole beef between those 2 teams. And they said their exact quote was, nobody wants to see the Braves in the World Series. That was the exact quote. And I was like, oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, the Braves don't have that national cachet, really. I mean, they're a classic team, and people obviously remember the Braves. But outside of the South.
Outside of this area?
Not even this area, though, because the Braves do dominate the whole Southeast, which is kind of cool. They probably have the biggest, other than, like, the Yankees, because people are bandwagoners, they probably have, like, the largest geographic footprint.
It's interesting.
Because there's so many teams in the Northeast. Like, there's not one team that overwhelmingly dominates any part of that. No team overwhelmingly dominates the state of California because there's obviously Bay Area teams and there's Southern California teams. Maybe, like, Arizona or something like that, but they're not even that big. But, I mean, you go to Mississippi, Alabama,
North
Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Like, this whole southeastern region is all Braves fans because they're the only team.
I'm going to ask a dumb question just because in my head I'm right. There's not a team in Tennessee either, is there?
No, there's not a team
Nashville?
in no.
That's a very weird. I've never, until you just brought that up. Has anybody else put 2 and 2 together like that? Where
in Florida and Texas, there's no baseball team in the Southeast.
Yep.
There's a million teams in the Northeast, and we don't even care about baseball in the Northeast. In the South, baseball is probably the number 2 sport, and there's only one.
Does anybody have an explanation for why that is in terms of? Is it
some big cities down there? Like, you can't put a pro team in Alabama or Mississippi.
But you could put one in Charlotte now. You could put one in Nashville, I would think.
Yeah. Well, those will be the 2. If the MLB ever expands, those are 2 of like.
Granted,
those are like notably 2 teams that are putting in big bids.
I mean, you're right. You have Tampa Bay and you have Miami, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm more surprised you don't see another team in Orlando or maybe even a Jacksonville.
It's Florida and Texas. That's it.
It is very interesting. I've never really thought about it in that form or fashion, but yeah, it's a strange thing. 803-404-6100. But Braves, and Todd hits us up, and he's also, I think, kind of joining Patrick on the jinx wagon. Don't forget the Braves ruffled the Dodgers 3-1 last year. We know what happened. Thank you for that, Todd. But the Braves look like they're kind of rolling along. We'll see again 8:00 tonight. But again, there's nothing that really attracts you to this world. So even if something happens, like you mentioned, let me see if they
maybe attract me. because I love watching Max pitch. I don't even know what he pitched last, so a Braves fan can quickly respond and say, no, he just pitched game 3, idiot, or something.
No, he threw game 2.
Okay.
What I'm looking at right now does not have the starting pitchers listed. That doesn't mean they haven't been announced. I just don't see the starting pitchers listed on the website that I am currently using to follow that. 803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning if you'd like to do so. Again, a lot going on from the evening that was. The Astros pound the Red Sox 9-2. Was it 9-2 on that one? I think they put up 9 runs last night. 9-1 last night. It was 9-2 in game 4, and then the Braves 9-2 last night. And again, the football game, Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State last night, 30-27. App State kicking the field goal at the buzzer to win that. We'll talk a little South Carolina football as well coming up in a few minutes. Okay. Bullpen game for the Dodgers as well. 803-404-6100. Guy wants to weigh in on a basketball report he heard on the news last night. We'll change subjects for a second. Guy, what do you got for us on a basketball report? Thank you very much. The NIL deal that Guy is referencing to Ty Washington, Ty Washington, who was the number 14 overall recruit on the ESPN rankings last year, a point guard, signed yesterday with a dealership, with a Porsche dealership in Louisville, Kentucky, which I actually thought was the more interesting part, that a Kentucky player signed with a Porsche dealership in Louisville. I didn't take time to study the actual dealership and if it was a Kentucky alumnus, which I would assume it was.
Well, even the rich Kentucky alumnus don't want to live in Lexington.
Okay. All right. That would explain potentially there. He signs a Porsche deal. It's a luxury vehicle deal. It's worth nearly 6 figures. The article is the next time he will be pulling up to a Kentucky game, he will be pulling up with an $80,000 Porsche. Patrick, you and I, you follow, you're a big Maryland fan. You follow Maryland basketball. Look, I don't know right now how college football is interesting because you have to come to college. You don't have another path for getting to the professional ranks other than going college football. You can't go to Europe. You don't have a G League. The name, image, likeness to me doesn't affect college. But this is an interesting deal. But you're going to have more of the elite players that would have probably signed these type of deals going to the G League anyway to make 6 figures right off the bat. We just saw the young man from right here in town, Jasmine, I think it's Jasmine Gortman, who has signed a 6-figure deal to go play with this overtime elite. I'm not sure how much name, image, likeness will be able to really help. I know this is a crazy situation.
But he's the number 14 in the player
right.
in the country. Normally that would be like the number 4 player in the country. It's not going to matter. And Kentucky's getting these guys anyway. This is not going to make Kentucky now get all the McDonald's All-Americans because they already do that. And what if they've won 1 national championship under Calipari, and they have an equally talented team every single year. So their inexperience in being all freshmen and trying to figure that thing out on the fly each and every year, that's already been the case. So I don't see a big issue. They're all one and done guys. College basketball is just gonna be the one and done teams. It already is. It's the one and done teams versus the experienced teams. And the one and done teams, we haven't seen too many of them win national championships anyway, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it's and yesterday, John Calipari saying at his team's media day, players are not coming to Kentucky for name, image, likeness opportunities. He did say that they will take advantage of them when they come. Again, Ty Washington signing a deal with a Porsche dealership in Louisville, Kentucky. Apparently given. He would on his Instagram. For all of you out there, go check out his Instagram. I don't even know that it's Ty Washington 3 for those of you that want to know. It's a Porsche Cayenne SUV valued at over $80,000 that I reckon he got for his name, image, likeness deal that he will drive around for 1 year. Is Porsche still
far less obnoxious than I thought it was going to be? It's actually a classic
reasonable. Jen, is Porsche still a big, like, I feel like Porsche is not the car maybe that it was 25
Porsche
years ago.
Cayenne is for sure big. Like that is the Porsche Cayenne is the like the rich housewife car because you could fit. There's a lot of trunk space and yeah.
But is the Porsche brand what it still used to be? I mean, I'm not a car person.
Yeah, I think it is.
And that.
Yeah, Porsche isn't going anywhere.
I mean, Chevrolet and Tahoe. Love Chevy to me. That's all I need. Just the Tahoe, the Chevrolet brand. That's top of the line to me. But Porsche is that like because it feels like Porsche used to be. Yeah, if you owned
I think something's like taken over as one of the
Tesla to me. Like Tesla feels like that's the and I don't know if that's just an Elon Musk thing or I know on that.
I mean, Teslas are popular. It's the biggest car brand in the world now, isn't it? Isn't that what they say?
I have no idea.
It's expensive as all get out, and you got to find a plug. But
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, to me, when I think of Porsche, I still think some F1 a little bit. And I don't even know if there's still.
There is not a Porsche team in F1.
There's not now.
Okay.
There's not. That's big news, right?
I don't.
It feels like we should have been reporting on that for a while.
There hasn't been one in the last 3 years, which is as long as my memory of F1 goes. And I didn't even watch 3 years ago. It's my first year watching, but I watched 3 seasons of Drive
I was thinking that the teams kind of, or the manufacturers kind of limited.
Yeah. I think Porsche still has a lot of.
Carries the weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess if you show like I see the Porsche, that's awesome, and I see the value of the car.
Who makes Porsches? What country are they made in?
Is it German? No.
I don't know. It's a good question.
All right,
that might be a dumb question.
We'll get to the bottom of that. We'll find out during the break. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Don't go away. What is it? What country? What country makes Porsches? We'll let you know when we return. There's a tease that you never thought you'd get on the early game. Again, you're listening to the early game, 107.5 The Game.
All right.
It was a big day at the Gunner household yesterday, not because of the great baseball or because of the fantastic football on last night. Zero Res was out to the house. And you know what? Honestly, as much as I can tell you how pleased I was about them, I really should actually have just dragged my 2 kids to the studio. When the 9-year-old is telling me how clean the carpets are, that tells you Zero Res is doing something special that my 9-year-old son was able to look at them and say, like, Dad, carpets look fantastic this morning. My room is clean. Like, yeah, son, that's what Zero Res does. They've got patented technology that uses high pH electrolyzed water, not harsh chemicals. I told Austin, no sticky, soapy residue is left behind. He just looked at me and was like, it's really clean, Dad. My carpets it's like I haven't made a mess in here at all since we moved in. And I said, that's right, son. That's what Zero Res does. Don't take my word for it. Take Austin Gunner, the youngest, smartest gunner of the family, the 9-year-old, on just how great Zero Res, and give him a call today, 803-262-4020. You can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com right now. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You'll get your hallway cleaned for free. That's $75 of savings right there just because you knew my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. And you get your hallway cleaned for free along with 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119. The technology of Zero Res, so incredible and scientifically proven to get your carpet, rugs, tile, and upholstery insanely clean. How insanely clean, you ask? Again, the 9-year-old noticed it yesterday. That's how clean it was. Zero Res right now. You need to give them a call. Go ahead and book that cleaning today. 803-262-4020. ZeroResColumbia.com. Spell it backwards, spell it forwards. It's the right way to clean.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com. Still looking good out there on the highways this morning. No accidents to report at this time. And the forecast looks great as well. Breezy and warm today and tomorrow, 81 both days. It's fair right now, and 53, 107.5 the game.
All right. Well, we got to the login screen, but now it's frozen.
Okay, that's a step. Again, I think we just needs to be unfrozen by roughly.
You can only do one step at a time without freezing. I don't know how it's gonna play.
So many unknowns at this point for the Cleveland Browns, and what's worse, it is on a short week. So a team that's lost 2 in a row is at this point now going up against the Denver Broncos, who have lost 3 in a row. Come out of the gate so strong with 3-0, now have lost their last 3. While we're not even halfway through the season yet, both these teams are in desperate need of a win to stay near the top of the division.
Join us for the Broncos and the Browns coming up on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your 8 game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to PrilosecOTC.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started. Plus, 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to PrilosecOTC.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use it for 14 days to treat heartburn, not for you.
Oh, I like Joel's going after the Clemson environment up there. So let's get that on the live stream. There you go, Joel.
Too many real toxic when Dabo leaves to go to LSU. We're still attempting to log in right now.
We're working on it. We're working on
I
it.
got my password in.
Computer coming on.
It's getting there. Max Free just throwing tonight for Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan, for weighing in. Jen has handed me my papers for the morning.
Short race.
The control board system that controls everything, and your smartphone and the wall, having everything.
So much going on. Oh, Travis, Euro interest. So what?
It's treat and treat. It's JT's Kia. JT's treating everyone to a massive selection of new 2021 Kia. So sold. Incredible savings.
All right, this time tomorrow morning, I'll be almost uncontainable with excitement as I will be roughly 6 hours away from hopping on the plane out to Vegas. Hadn't been to Vegas in years. Think I got my tickets lined up. Where's my phone? Check my email. Think I got my tickets lined up for the Vegas Knights game. We're gonna go Sunday against the Islanders. Just
What time is it a night game?
yeah, and it made sense. Like it just flying into Vegas tomorrow and trying to get there. Like we will land out there at 3:50 something, and the game would have been at 7. The game would have been the game was at 7. So you figure we land at 3:50 something. By the time we get to the
Yeah, you're not gonna have time.
like it would have just been fun. We'd have gotten there, but we'd have gotten there at like close to 7. So.
And if one thing goes wrong, you get delayed a little bit, or have to wait a little bit longer. Your flight's not gonna.
And we figure by Sunday we're going to be footballed out a little bit. And So Germany, we did get the answer there. It is going to be Germany. All right.
Broadcasting live from the LA studio. This is 107.5. The Hawk Shop online today and see why having Chevrolet makes you smile. And now back to the early on 107.5 KD.
Germany?
That's what I'm hearing.
Germany?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it didn't sound German, so I would have actually not been able to make a guess if I.
Where does Porsche sell?
I don't know. Ferrari sounds Italian.
Yeah.
You hear Ferrari and you say, yeah, that's
Okay,
Italian.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
Lamborghini is also Italian, right? Because that sounds Italian.
I think so. Yeah.
You just say it with a little Italian accent. And Lamborghini,
Mhm.
but Porsche,
Or Porsche.
I can't think of that. I can't think of how to say that in a German accent.
Porsche. Kyle says Porsche is owned by Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Volkswagen.
I would've
That
never
does that
known
sound?
that.
Does that sound Porsche? I mean, does that sound Porsche? Does that sound German?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Volkswagen.
All right. So Kyle
And
says
it's got the A's over it. Does it have the two dots over the A? It should.
the text he sent in. He's probably at a red light. We're gonna assume Kyle's at a red light or getting himself ready for work this morning, but he probably didn't have time to find the proper.
No, but does the actual Volkswagen have any dots over the letters?
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. I don't think so anymore.
Sean says Porsche was cool until they came out with the Boxster and then the SUV. Now it seems like a nerdy midlife crisis kind of car.
Well, that actually isn't a bad assessment.
And Gamecock Bob just weighs in with a GIF of a person falling down what appears to be a rabbit hole and says, "That's how I feel listening to the first few conversations of the day
There's a
every
rabbit
morning."
hole for you. Wait, do you have a liner to read?
I do, but I'm going to get to it. I'm going to.
I was saying because I have a rabbit hole we can go down.
Oh boy, we might get to that. Leia, first let me tell you about the 107.5 The Game in Twin Peaks. Hot Take Hotline, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You hear something or you see something last night if you watched that Coastal Appalachian State game and you saw something that you wanted to give a hot take on, but none of the shows were on air. You thought, how am I going to get my hot take across? It's easy. 803-978-6654. If you need to vent, offer constructive criticism, or praise us or what's happening, it's sponsored by Twin Peaks for the men who never settle. Go visit and call Twin Peaks, but you can actually call the hotline. Go visit Twin Peaks. Call the hotline, 803-978-6654, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's the 107.5 The Game Twin Peaks Hot Take Hotline. Again, sponsored by Twin Peaks for the men who never settle. Go see them down in the Vista, 600 Gervais Street. What do you got?
Well, I was just going to ask we talk about winning the Powerball a lot on this show and how you just spend the day imagining what you'd spend your money with. What kind of car are you driving in those visions?
I'm dead serious on this Tahoe. I'm driving my Chevrolet, brand new one, of course. Not but yeah, like yeah. I don't think I would. I mean, I might own another car, but I don't. When I say I'm not I'm very happy with the Tahoe. I'm not a car person. Like you see, what is it? Who is it? It's Jay Leno, I think, who owns.
Cars,
yeah, like
and Seinfeld.
Seinfeld owns. Yeah, I think.
Massive car people.
Yeah, like I'm not that kind of person.
I think Leno works on his own cars and stuff too. He's got a huge garage and he actually knows what he's doing.
I would be the person who would own 4 or 5 boats. I would be more likely to do that. So I might need
I would have multiple cars in the garage, but it would just be I would probably have a crazy sports car that I would never drive except if I really wanted to show off.
Yeah. See, I don't even really. Just not a sports car. I might own a Silverado to tow a heavier boat. Although if I win the lottery, I'm probably having someone tow the boat for me.
Jim, you're a car person. I feel like you'll have a specific answer to this. What would your perfect car be?
Okay.
I like that.
Italian?
I like Aston Martin. That's why I see James Bond driving in. Those things are pretty sweet. I think I would get an Aston Martin.
There we go. There's your hour number one Gamecock Bob.
Everybody text in for the end hour the perfect car. Send a picture too, honestly.
Yeah. And just we'll just start associating your text messages with the cars you drive. 803. Yeah, that's right. The Gamecock Larry. We think Gamecock Larry would drive Hummer, right?
The Jeep Gladiator. Well, I like the Jeep with the pickup, the tailgate now. I'd have one of those in the garage.
Okay. All right. 803-404-6100. We'll talk a little Gamecock football in the next hour. Marcus Satterfield, Clayton White meeting with the media yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about what Marcus Satterfield had to say. Some good sports on last night as well. Braves Dodgers tonight. Game 5. Braves up 3-2. You're listening to, or 3-1. I'm sorry, 3-1. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. All right. 1 hour down. How's that computer coming? Just coming along, huh?
Still trying to. Says welcome.
Oh, the computer says welcome.
We've been on the screen for a while.
We're getting there. Oh.
I'd like to own a Model T Ford.
A Model T Ford?
Every once in a while, you see somebody driving around in one of those, and it looks just classy. So they're definitely expensive. They have to.
I'm just not, I don't even know all the kinds of different, like, cars or anything like. Yeah. Did not watch any NBA last night. There was too many other things on. Didn't get into the. It'll be a few weeks before I get into the NBA. By the time I get into the NBA, there'll be some incredible storylines. Currently, the incredible storyline is Ben Simmons.
What is my name? Bojas? What is that?
What? I don't know if that's a.
Bojas?
So this guy yesterday from Texas A&M, I sent him a thing and was like, hey, you want to come on? And I was trying to get him on yesterday, the 8 o'clock hour. So I sent him a private message where he responds. He's like, hey, I never checked this because it's always opposing fans yelling at me for my take. Like, but I'll gladly come on with you. Let me know. So I responded back. I was like, hey, probably Friday morning, maybe, be early for you. Like I was told him, I was like, it'd be like 6:30 your time, like 7:30 our time. You'd think because he knew that I was going to respond, he would come back in and check it, or maybe he just did and was like, but he hadn't responded back yet.
Or that's too early.
Yeah, he looked at it and was just like, I figured, but I told him we were booked in the 8 o'clock hours today and tomorrow.
I got this yesterday. It's like, this is strange. That's on LinkedIn.
Indeed can help hire great people fast. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your career dashboard.
On LinkedIn?
Well, since they don't know about it.
Your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
There you go.
Well, since they can't hear me, they don't know about cars anyway. The new Corvette, absolutely impressive. Bugatti, that'd be another car. I think would be a great luxury car. And if I mention any of those types of
Would you get an
names,
RV?
their heads go.
Yeah, I've actually given more thought to the RV plan, the idea lately.
Bill driving an RV.
A buddy of mine's got one. He bought one because his son does motocross. Like his son is like 10 years old and does motocross. So they travel like up and down the eastern seaboard. Like they're everywhere. And so he was telling me he's got a huge like a $250,000 RV.
I love the idea of it, but I would be stressed out driving it all the time. I would not want to drive an RV.
Well, I asked him about that. I was like, dude, how do you drive that thing? Because that's another thing. Like, yeah, I'd love an RV, but I don't think I want to be the person driving it.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I'm watching Bill driving an RV, I'm pretty much watching the movie RV.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I see these huge. Now, we did watch the other day where we watched when we were at the fair on Tuesday. So it's kind of the weirdest scene ever. We're on the Crazy Mouse, which is back in the corner, kind of right across the street from Jayco's.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like two. I don't know if they were RVs now that I think about it, but they were like the campers, but they were massive. Like it looked. I'm dead serious. It looked like 1,500 square foot, especially when you add in the pop-ups or the pop-outs like portion.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at the fair, and I'm looking at this, and there's like this guy in a really nice suit, just like leaned up back there, like I was like, is this the guy that owns the fair? Like, does he just drive around? And then like another just guy like hanging out, drinking a beer, like they were just chilling. And then there was like two kids that spraying each other with silly string. It was like the weirdest thing. It really was like I don't know if those are called campers. I mean, again, I don't think it was an RV where you drive it.
Well, there are things called fifth wheels. I don't know if something that size is.
Those are all smaller though. Like, aren't they? Like, no,
so.
This wasn't you could put that thing. There was two of them back there. There was one is you come around the Crazy Mouse. It was right there, and then there was another one kind of to the left of it, and they were. I mean, I don't know how the inside looked, but I thought for what those things are, like you would have had room to be kind of okay.
Yeah, and it's cool because then you could unhook and then drive your vehicle to the.
Yeah, well, and then there was like a brand new decked out, like looked like an excursion or I don't know, something bigger. I forget what it was, but it was like all black, had the tinted out black windows, like beautiful rims. It was just at the fair, like it was a very like you're like, all right.
Interesting.
I hate driving anything big.
Yeah, David, I'll mention that. Let's see. Michael Dukes was Dukes yesterday.
Welcome to the early game. 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunther and Patrick Perez. Why don't we start with someone more interesting? And producer extraordinaire, Jim Jensen. It's time for the early game, where the bacon is always prepared properly. Mike Barretta's Swine was supposed to be with sausage on 107.5 The Game.
Thursday morning, been talking a little National League playoff series, Championship League playoff series there. Braves Dodgers as the Braves go up 3-1 last night with a 9-2 rout of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Also Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State last night. App State kicking the field goal as time expired. The fans storming the field, and number 14 Coastal Carolina falls from the unbeaten ranks. They lose 30-27. This hour we'll get into a little bit about South Carolina. Marcus Satterfield, who is the lightning rod right now, Patrick, for South Carolina fans. He is the person that I feel like that's where we're at here going into Texas A&M weekend. It's the discussion is Marcus Satterfield. Shane Beamer right now still kind of getting a pass, so to speak, getting a little bit of love. He's kind of the guy that everybody is okay with. People are not thrilled. There's conversations about how talented this team is, how much depth there is, but most of the anger I sense is coming at Marcus Satterfield.
Yeah, and that's not going to change unless the offense really starts lighting it up. But I mean, what does a new head coach get one of those? One coordinator screw up? Is that how it usually goes? Because I feel like Ed Orgeron hired Joe Brady. And then botched it last year with Bo Pelini. An LSU fan said, okay. we'll give you a do-over, and things did not get better this year. And I mean, it doesn't matter. Obviously, those are opposite sides of the ball, but you know, they'll let the first one slide. They won't hold it against you, and then you know what? Now the responsibility falls on your shoulders. So we'll get through this year, right? If he doesn't hold on to Marcus, if he hangs on to Marcus Satterfield for next year, people will go into it skeptical. And if the offense isn't better, then it will start to be held against Shane Beamer.
I think that Shane will get that Shane Beamer will get a little bit more of a pass because of his personality. I think people are understanding that he is still trying to learn on the job, but they're also not going to give him a pass if he waits too long. If he waits too long on this,
the fact that we know that there is a deeply personal relationship there. He doesn't have the resume. If this was Mike Bobo, it wouldn't have been held against him for hanging on to Mike Bobo. Nobody would have criticized him for that.
Correct. Yeah, you are exactly right. That if it was Mike Bobo, well, I don't know if people would have criticized him. I think that's just the nature of the society. Is it's a lot easier to criticize than it is to praise, and people will when you're 4-3, which looks South Carolina again at this point. They've won the games they were supposed to. They've lost the games that technically they were supposed to. When I say that, they weren't favored against Georgia. Look,
even without even if I already forget Lincoln Riley's brother's name. What's his first name?
Garrett Riley.
If it was Garrett Riley, people would have been like, "Oh, okay, well, you know."
I think
his brother's a genius.
Yeah, I think Garrett Riley would have been the one that if South Carolina would have hired him, people would be like, "Oh, the system just can't work because we don't have the wide receivers right now. We don't have the quarterback." Marcus Satterfield coming in with almost no resume. He was obviously the head coach and offensive coordinator at Tennessee Tech, and he was the offensive coordinator for 3 years at Temple. The fact that he was not retained or kept as offensive coordinator when they went to Baylor, certainly some people have pointed that out. When he went with that rule from Temple to Baylor, some people have pointed that out. But all that being said, Patrick, again, Marcus Satterfield basically talking yesterday and pointing out some things, talking about Zeb Nolan as the offensive is going to be the play caller now, because Nolan is not the play caller in terms of actual plays, but the guy who's in charge of lining everybody up, making signal call. Thank you. Better than play caller. But it's going to be interesting to see Marcus Satterfield over these next 5 games. Zeb Nolan did display some good things during his 2 starts and 1 series against Georgia. The question is, how comfortable does he feel now this far into the season, as opposed to, what was it, 4 weeks? I mean, it was 3 weeks almost from the time he started practicing to the first game, 4 weeks to the second game.
And it's been, so I don't know. Has he gotten more comfortable? I don't know what kind of reps. I know it's not like the NFL where only the starter gets reps basically, and the backup is just told to be ready mentally. He's been practicing. Does the last 3 weeks really help him a lot? Is he far more comfortable? I don't know. I mean, I think he'd rather have played against Vanderbilt for longer to get his feet wet before going in there to a very hostile 100,000 plus in a night environment and a really good defensive line. He's going to get thrown right into it. It's not ideal. It's going to be a lot reminiscent of his first big time SEC stars going into Georgia and getting basically knocked out of the game immediately.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of you weighing in this morning, a couple anonymous texters weighing in. The first one, and this is just kind of, I think, where South Carolina fans are at. Back-to-back texts, both coming in at 7:05. First anonymous texter says that Marcus Satterfield not fit for the SEC, and then that's followed up by another anonymous texter who says 7 games in, and some of our ignorant fans are mad at the offensive coordinator. Please let us rebuild.
Well, it's not ignorant to be mad at the offensive coordinator.
I don't think it is. Right.
It doesn't mean you have to demand his head on a platter right now and say the only reason we're not as successful as we want to be is the offensive coordinator. You could acknowledge that there's problems elsewhere, like the offensive line. The skill positions are not that great, and your signal caller is not that potentially great. So it doesn't mean you can't be mad, though.
I don't agree with this take. What do you think of this one from Craig on the live stream? He says, I bet we see a lot less check with me at the line with Zeb. I don't know if I see that. I actually think that they'll continue kind of the more hurry-up offense that will feature get to the line, get lined up, look at the defense, and then look over. Marcus Satterfield's still in control of the offense. And Craig, maybe I'm misunderstanding you.
when I see that, that seems to insinuate to me that what you're going to get is Marcus Satterfield basically turning over the offense to Zeb Nolan to make the calls at the line of scrimmage. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't care how experienced Zeb Nolan is or how much he's drawn up the playbook. I still think Marcus Satterfield is going to be the one making the call. They're still going to line up, look and see what the defense is giving them, and then try to make an adjustment. You guys both of y'all would agree with that, right?
That also insinuates that Luke Doty didn't have a full understanding or grasp of the offense, and I don't think that's the case. I just think they weren't executing.
But I was going to say, but there were times where it seemed like they would start to set up, and then they would look to the sideline like another time, and it just seemed like there was a lot of like focus and like, almost. I just got that sense a few times where it just seemed like looking at the sidelines more than necessary.
It was interesting last night. Patrick, I don't know if you called it, Jen. I don't know how much you watched of it. The announcers last night, Anish Sharoff and Tom Luganville, meeting and talking about an meeting that they had this week with Willie Korn, offensive coordinator for Coastal Carolina, and how Willie Korn was saying, look, you can't just put your toe into the Coastal Carolina offense. There's too many things. It's too complicated with what they want to do that you can just sample some of it. That there's RPOs, that there's a triple option aspect to it, that some of the passing game. It was interesting to hear them talking about and how complex that offense is, and now come back and compare it to what exactly South Carolina and Marcus Satterfield may be trying to do, because I don't see complex play calls. Maybe I see, or maybe the issues are wide receivers needing to understand certain coverages and run certain route trees. Maybe it's the offense. Obviously, the offensive line has had more than their share of problems this season. But when you talk about complex offenses, things that are difficult to learn, it was interesting to hear the announcers last night reference the Coastal Carolina offense. And as they were talking about it, and some of the plays, I loved the play last night, by the way. I don't know if either of you saw it. Coastal Carolina ran a play where they would send the wide receiver in motion. It was kind of an orbit motion where he would go behind the quarterback and the running back and go wide. They would take the snap as he was doing it, and I guess Grayson McCall had the option to hand off up the middle to the running back or to flip it out on the perimeter to the guy running the orbit motion. Really interesting schemes that Jamie Chadwell had. And look, Jamie Chadwell's going to move on probably to, unless they collapse the remainder of the season, which I don't think they will. He's probably going to move on to a bigger and better job. I don't know if it'll be this year, depending on what opens, or next year. But to see that offense as he moves on at a higher level.
Well, the offense was very impressive, and I did notice they called it out. The announcers called it, I think, right before they scored the second touchdown to make it 14-0. They pointed out, notice you haven't seen the same formation, the same play called, or anything even remotely similar the whole time. Each play has been totally unique. And they also mentioned that Grayson McCall has basically been running this offense for 5 to 7 years. Like, since he was in middle school, he's been running a variation of this offense, and he's very, very, very comfortable with it. And that's why Jamie Chadwell and Coastal staff wanted him so bad. App State wanted him too. But that's why I think if Jamie Chadwell's here, that doesn't mean the South Carolina offense will be better. Like, you have to be like him and Grayson McCall. And Grayson McCall is an elite quarterback. He is a stud. They're very much on the same wavelength right now, and that's very important. There's no saying he would just come right over here, meet up with Luke Doty, give him 6 months to practice and get ready, and Luke Doty's got as solid of a grasp as Grayson McCall does right now. Like it takes years to build that. So I don't think South Carolina is equipped to be able to run that type of offense right now.
Not right now. And that is the other part of the equation when we talk about Marcus Satterfield and what is Luke Doty as a quarterback? I mean, it's a fair question. Like, it is a fair question. And now you wonder, how healthy has Luke Doty been as a quarterback? There's a lot more there than I think just saying, look, there are certainly play calls that we all question from the offensive coordinator. And we'll just start with Jordan Burks throwing a pass at the 2-yard line, and we'll work our way out from there. Last week, it was the 4th and 4 play call in a one-on-one situation to Xavier Legette that Marcus Satterfield talked about yesterday. So, look, there are a lot of things with this offense. I tend to agree with people who say it's not all Marcus Satterfield.
No.
I don't know. And look, when I say I don't know how talented or how good the offensive line is, I thought they would be better. Did I think they would be upper echelon of the SEC? No. If you would have said, 7.5 over under, where you got them? For top 7.5, bottom 7.5, I'd have put them in the bottom. But I still didn't think that they would be. We would agree. I didn't think that they would be this bad. Or did you look at last year? Pass protection stunk last year. I know Colin Hill wasn't very mobile, but pass protection last year for South Carolina was not good either. Is it as simple as, hey, look, you got to recruit 1,000,000 times better on the offensive line right now? Is it as simple as they've got to go out and find a quarterback who can execute an offense? It doesn't matter if it's Steve Spurrier, if it's Marcus Satterfield, or if it's me calling plays. You got to find a quarterback. We'll continue talking about this. A lot of you weighing in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line as well as the live stream. If you want to join in this morning, 803-404-6100. How you can do so via the Love Chevy phone lines or the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. We'll continue this discussion a little bit. Again, coming up this morning, 7:40, Dr. Guillaume Demont with Prisma Orthopedic. We'll talk about some sports injuries. 8:20 this morning, Brian Edwards with Vegas Insider to give his picks. And at 8:40 this morning, Darlington President Kerry Tharp joining us. We got a busy morning in front of us. We hope you are up and at 'em. 7:16 on a Thursday morning. You listen to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's.
Still welcoming you in over there? Telling you welcome home? No, not even welcome? No, went to the street light screen then? Oh, fantastic.
We have a cursor, but that's it.
Just going well with the technology. Just technology winning everywhere.
Do you get a picture of Guillaume Dumont?
I did not.
We can put his face up over ours when he's on.
I know he's been on with us.
Oh, yeah, he has?
Nah, well, I know at some point, but I don't see a picture. So if you want to locate a picture and just save it in there on your computer.
I don't even know how to spell his name. I could even begin to spell it.
No on the logo. I just have it streaming at the bottom, which is good enough.
The logo is up.
Oh, what?
The logo
it is. Oh, it is.
That's why I keep taking down the comments after they're popped up.
Silverados are back in stock at Herndon Chevrolet. We're ready to kick the inventory shortage to the curb with new trucks available now. Trade in and trade up to a new route and leave the stress of last year behind. Your trade will never be worth more than it is right now. Visit Herndon Chevrolet online at HerndonChevy.com.
Get that satisfying crunch. Now with 20% more honey. Try a delicious Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bar with more of the honey you love.
During the Stone Age, early men and heaven caves. As building a three-story cottage, whether in adventure, what kept them from watching football, punches and beer with the boys. Today, the passions are built for us. Nature's little critters, however, no one's looking for them. But it's only makes the cracks in your foundation all the more appealing. Do you have issues with your foundation and need expert advice? Contact the experts at Canty Foundation Specialists by visiting CantyCanFixIt.com. Experience the best golf the Low Country has to offer at Cook Island Golf and Beach Resort. Both of our 18-hole championship golf courses offer stunning natural beauty and challenging play. Golf at either Ocean Point, featuring the pretty Salt Marsh, or Ocean Point, showcasing 10 holes along the Atlantic. Our favorite and knowledgeable staff will be your custom stable play accommodations package in one of our fantastic vacation rentals. Learn more by calling 866-976-1381 or visit BrookIslandResort.com. Ready to keep your home in the same with you all right now.
Just getting started. Season 2 is NFL centric with origin stories from Aaron, Joe Buck, and Michael Strahan. Sad people were what they thought you got ready to talk. You have no idea. Because social media lets you know that you have a lot of people who were like, I feel proud of you, but then you had all the people who were like,
All right, so we have to be probably at like 26 or 27.
Yeah, we got 3 breaks. We got 3 breaks. 3 breaks this hour. 3 breaks. 3 breaks, everybody. Right?
We'll be quick here.
0% financing. Nobody down, plus a $1,500 savings. Call today and get a new unit tomorrow.
We'll be like next hour too, so.
Yeah, 3 breaks next hour. I know I got love, Chevy. You're not racing out of here, are you, after this? Yeah, those. I might have one other thing, an interview we're going to cut. We'll talk about it. I mean, you can hang out. Otherwise, I'll fucking. I mean, I can try and load you up with guests. You got Perry. And see. Wednesday, December 8th, Colonial Life Arena Trans-Siberian Orchestra coming back to town. Make sure you get your tickets. A portion of the proceeds will benefit Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity that aims to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. Tickets on sale now. Again, Wednesday, December 8th at Colonial Life Arena, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra back in town. Don't want to miss that. Great way to start off the month of December. A portion of the proceeds from each and every ticket sold will benefit Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity that aims to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. Go purchase your ticket now. They are on sale. 803-404-6100. Again, last segment, getting into a little bit. Marcus Satterfield speaking to the media. Clayton White speaking to the media yesterday. Nothing against Clayton White. Nobody just cares right now because his unit against teams that they should kind of handle has done their job. Against teams that we know are more talented than them, and we knew going in that Clayton White's defense could struggle, that there was a lack of talent in the secondary, that the linebackers might be a little slow. We didn't know what the defensive line would be. Well, against teams that have had good passing games, Tennessee, Georgia, they've struggled. Look, Southwest defense shut down Kentucky, but at the end of the day, nobody really is worried about him right now. I think most people against Kentucky, they give a lot of rushing yards. Yeah, I think most people look at Clayton White and the defense and say, "Hey, that's in good hands. Let him get Keenan Nelson Jr. in here and let him play safety. Let Emory Floyd get in here at defensive back. Javonte McClendon is another safety that I know that they're excited about. Let's see what else they can do in the transfer portal. Let's see what the defense can do after a full year of playing in the system and another off-season learning. Linebacker is a position, again, they've got to get more speed there. Yeah. Brad Johnson's played well. Damani Staley's played well. Give those guys credit. Debo Williams was a guy I thought we'd see a lot more of this year. But the bottom line with Debo Williams is he is a true freshman. And he's having to learn how to adjust. Initially, he was going to Delaware. Now he's in South Carolina. That's a pretty significant jump up in competition going from wherever you were at Delaware to now playing in the SEC. So they do have to get more speed at the linebacker spot. But I think most people feel like, hey, with Clayton White in charge, with Mike Peterson, with Jimmy Lindsey in the back group with Torian Gray, defense is going to be just fine in the long run. Pete Limbo's certainly doing a good job. I saw last night, Jen, I think you commented on Twitter, looked like Shane Beamer having was it a trick or treat party, I guess, for the kids, and then the coaches' families' kids were trick or treating. Did you see the Shane Beamer? Yeah. We are home humans, Jen. The coaches are robots who are supposed to be focused 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on getting this football program better. They're not allowed to have any fun whatsoever.
Maybe see some video clips as well of some of the antics from that party.
Well,
it looked like a lot of fun.
And look, that's part of Shane Beamer trying to build that culture back up of families being around the office and things that Steve Spurrier, Jerry Spurrier kind of did to keep families around to make it more of a group. We'll see that is one aspect of that. Now back to what we were discussing, Patrick. I think the question that comes up, and let's go through some of these text messages that came in. DC3 weighs in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. If the offense is too complicated, then dumb it down. The amount of penalties and mistakes we have made have demonstrated as a team we do not have an overabundance of football intelligence. The penalties, Patrick, and the mistakes, though, I don't feel like they're a byproduct of a complicated offense. Jumping off sides, holding, that's
just being bad.
That's lack of discipline. I don't think that's because you have a complicated offense.
I mean, some of the holds are just you got torched, you got beat very cleanly, very quickly, and all you can do is really bring that down. So not even just, I think it's also just a lack of skill or lack of athleticism.
I'm not real sure what to make of those things. Those are simple things that you should just be able to coach up. Don't make many mistakes. By the way, did you see the mistake on? You guys probably missed it. It was early in the game. The mistake on the graphic last night where App State had 4 penalties for 501 yards. That'd have been a rough day.
It's very tough.
It was a significant bad average on that one.
I didn't even know how it ended until I just saw the replay of it. They smart to take the knee with 1:20. They had goal to go, and the guy was going to be able to score a touchdown and took the knee. Smart, run out the clock, kick a field goal, don't kick us the ball back.
Well coached team. AMAC weighs in. He says, my take on the offense is 10% bad play calls, 10% bad coaching, 80% lack of execution, understanding, talent. And, I mean, that very well, we talk about it. It's hard not to say that this team is lacking in talent, especially offensively. Anonymous Texter weighs in. The botched play calling on the goal line is on Satterfield's resume. Fans will never forget. Yeah, right now, until something else happens, people are going to remember the Jordan Burch play. I mean, that's gonna stand out for a while. Steven weighs in. Penalties are lack of talent. I mean, that's you go with that one. Is it just as simple as some of these penalties or just lack of talent?
I think the holding penalties are mostly lack of talent. I mean, it doesn't make you untalented to jump off sides, but I think the holding penalties are just the guys they're not as good as the guys they're trying to block, and they got to bring them down, and they got to grab the jersey because they just aren't capable of blocking them one-on-one.
803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning. Hope, Beverly, RL, Jason, Chuck, Craig, all in. Several of you weighing in this morning. Carlton weighing in. David, Troy, all on the live stream. Love for you to join us there as well. You can go to the 107.5 The Game YouTube page and subscribe. Join us. Watch each and every morning. You can also go to the 107.5 The Game Facebook page and follow us there as well. We'll continue on here. Again, coming up in about 15 minutes, Dr. Guion DeMont joining us from Prisma Orthopedic, 8:20 this morning. Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider to give his picks, and 8:40, Kerry Tharp, Darlington Raceway president, joining us to praise me for my fantastic picks and lead in our current NASCAR pick segment. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. Wow, we've been talking about cars this morning. Some of you sent in some beautiful looking cars. We talked about Porsches, but you know what? There's only one car I love in my life. I'm a simple person. I keep it simple, and that is my Tahoe, my Chevrolet Tahoe that I purchased from Love Chevrolet. They were able to tell me exactly how that Tahoe would be able to help get Austin to his soccer practices. We got basketball coming up. We got Ansley's doing cheerleading, competitive cheer, which means they're going to be traveling to who knows where for cheer competitions. It's going to be fabulous. It can't wait. But you know what? I needed a reliable vehicle. And with Chevrolet, I know exactly that's what I'm going to get. And at Love Chevrolet, I knew I was going to get the best deal possible. I knew I was going to have the best selection of Tahoes. And of course, I was going to have an incredible sales staff that was there to take care of me and my family when I needed them the most with an important decision. That's why I encourage you to go to Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, whether it's a Silverado, whether it's a Tahoe, whatever it may be that you're looking for the family, Love Chevrolet will make sure you are taken care of. Go visit them again out in Irmo, I-26 between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. You can't miss it. Great selection of vehicles. The $1,000 low price guarantee means you can shop other dealerships, take the deal back to them, and they'll top it. And then, of course, that sales staff, trustworthy, knowledgeable, will make sure you feel comfortable with your next vehicle purchase. Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads. All right, everybody. Going through, yes, I need to.
I-77 southbound at Phillies Road. Also, the two workmen of Lost I-26 eastbound at Pittsburgh Road. So be careful out there this morning. Forecast tonight for the freezing warm today and tomorrow 81 Thursday, 73 high, 53 right now at 175.
Thanksgiving and Christmas are all the way.
Okay, we kind of need to time it out where I think this guy will call. They kind of expect from about 7:45 to 7:54. So to come back around 7:45, and the next one I need to break at 7:40ish.
Call 360-8211. 360-8211 or visit GRECALbuilders.com. Breakout Builders. Quality from start to finish.
Hey, this is Brad
Yeah.
Giles with Giles Brothers.
I don't know if this helps you. I'm not asking you. I'm just there's a breakdown of what this it gets sent to me for.
Products. As a family-owned and operated agency, we would use.
This will be the big test. I'm holding the times down well, but now here we go. Do I not get lost in a segment? Okay.
You trust your choice in the Midlands. Come see the difference Giles Brothers Insurance can make.
Athletic hip. That's an injury?
Gonna find out.
So.
Let's see here. Yep. That's a good point, RL. Talent discrepancy shouldn't. It's against those teams.
Correct.
Should still be better. Oh yeah, that's right. Chauncey Billups is coaching. Yeah. Thank you.
Will buy your car for cash if you don't buy a car first. So don't put another penny into your scary old car. It's time to escape. New Kia starting at just $189 per month. Coming at a Kia in Bristol at 126 Suicide in Columbia. 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. To qualify listings, 4K stack number 1K162 Sport HKK 2006. 36 months. Please press those months for your $39.97 plus tax and tax. No security deposit. In the trade when we finance get loans. Subject to member approval. Office of devices start market. Thursday night football on Fox. Mayfield and the star-studded Browns are ready to bring the show to the dog. Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos. What a throw! Touchdown! Looking to steal the spotlight. Still on his feet. He's got it. Broncos. Browns. Tonight at 7:30 Eastern on Fox. NFL Network and streaming on Prime Video. NFL Network
Nature's Ultra Beauty World Care event is happening now, so you can discover the best hair this fall. Get up to 50% off hair care essentials from your favorite brands like Giorgio and Revlon, and restore your hair with incredible deals on shampoo and conditioner from brands like Redken. So don't miss out. This event ends October 23rd. Shop in-store, online, and check your site.
All right, let's see.
The possibilities are huge. Did you know that you might be overpaying for your prescriptions? It's true, but it's okay because there's an easy way.
3 breaks, man. We've got a bunch. I mean, they sold a bunch of mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like,
All the major pharmacies. Walmart, Rite Aid, Walmart.
that's good. That's good, but whew.
Not really a fan of this comment. People have to say.
Which one?
These guys, just the general. I'm proud of our players for playing hard and not giving up. And then the idea that that was different than last year, because I remember us specifically praising the guys for playing Georgia with like 10 starters missing, just getting absolutely.
Which guy said that? Who said that?
Joseph. I don't think the players quit last year.
Hope it does look beautiful out there, and yes, the late shot would be a lot better. (803-404-6100). How you can join us this morning via the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or via the Love Chevy phone lines, of course. Hope you're wanting to weigh in. Hope reminds me we need the shot of the lake this morning. The sky is beautiful, and I turn around and look at Day Street.
It's beautiful
It does look beautiful out there, but it's definitely not the lake. Coming up here in about 10 minutes, Dr. Guion DeMont, Prisma Orthopedic, will join us. We'll talk about some athletic hip injuries. 8:20 this morning, it will be Brian Edwards of Vegas Insider. We'll get you caught up on all the games this weekend, the point spreads that Brian likes, what he is looking at. And then at 8:40 this morning, Kerry Tharp, president of Darlington Raceway, as we head toward another exhilarating race this weekend. Jen, we're in Kansas this weekend, 267 laps.
Yeah, just making sure that you actually knew where it was.
It helps when you give me my sheet. We're in the round of 8 this
Oh,
week.
I helped you.
Helps tremendously. For those of you wondering, and I know you're sitting on the edge of your seat right now, the total point standings for our 2021 NASCAR Cup Series weekly pick'em, myself, Jen Jensen.
Oh, darn, your mic just went out.
Oh, the mic went out. What happened there? Technology getting me again. Or wait, no, Jen Jensen getting me again there. Let's read this very quickly, Jen. Just confirm or deny with a simple Bill Gunner, 125 points. Oh, no, Jen's mic went out. Who would have ever thought such a bad thing would happen? Kerry Tharp with 98 points. He's in second place, a long way behind one Bill Gunner. Jen Jensen at 95. That's dead last in Reggie Anderson.
Sports talk show host.
That's Jen Jensen, everybody, the producer of the show. 803-404-6100 is how we can do this morning. If you want to weigh, a lot of you weighing in. Quarter weighs in. To me, it seems play calling is okay for the most part. It's bad at critical times. Play calling will look better with better talent on the offensive line. Patrick, we went into the season talking about wide receivers. They had to be improved dramatically. Like, they had to play better. You had to recruit better. Antonio Williams right down the road is a kid that Justin Stepp is making a push for. Landon Sampson, wide receiver out at South Lake Carroll, will be a guest on our program in the coming days. I look forward to catching up with him. He was on his official visit this past weekend. Guys that can help. But, Patrick, it appears most people now in Porter's one of those people saying the most urgent need, and maybe the area you go to right now in the transfer portal, is offensive line. Upgrading that offensive line has got to be priority number one, whether it's junior college or transfer portal this coming offseason.
Well, yeah, because you already have the recruits. You have guys that you feel like are going to be able to contribute, but they can't do it year one. That just doesn't happen as offensive linemen. You can get wide receivers to come in and play right away. You can get running backs to come in and play right away. He's special. You can get a quarterback to come in and play right away. But offensive linemen, there's just too much growth to be done, and guys got to fill out their bodies and be in the nutrition and lifting programs for a little while. only Alabama's recruiting 350-pounders that can play as freshmen. So, yeah, the transfer portal is where you need to get grown men. You need to get, and they've tried. Jackson Turnstine was a transfer portal guy. He came from JUCO. He was a very highly rated JUCO transfer. Not really working out. He's playing, so I guess if you want to say it works because he's a starter, but he hasn't been playing at a very high level. So yeah, you need to hit the transfer portal hard, but it's still a hit or miss deal when you're going from junior college.
Certainly, that'll be something that South Carolina can address and will have to address when they look at the transfer portal this year. Again, numbers will be different. I think that's going to be something that's interesting to talk about. Numbers will be different when it comes down to how South Carolina can go about upgrading the roster. You could end up with as many as 7 new offensive linemen. 803 offensive linemen. I'm sorry, that's what they've got to do. You could end up with as many as 7 different or 7 new scholarships. Instead of 25, you could go to 32. We'll talk more about that. But let's go out to an offensive line expert, more importantly, an orthopedic surgeon who is an expert in so many other in so many other fields, Dr. Guillaume Dumont. Why is he a expert on the offensive line, Patrick? He played offensive line for Tennessee, graduated 1 year after Tennessee wins the national championship. So a good morning to you, expert on the offensive line and on orthopedics. Welcome into the early game. Hope you're doing well this morning. Glad to.
Things go full circle, I guess.
How about what do you remember about your time there with Shane? Do you remember him being helpful?
So he's probably getting noogies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, were you guys giving him noogies or swirlies, or was he touching coffee for you?
Yeah, I think after practice, no, we wouldn't do that. But no, he hasn't changed a whole lot. Honestly, I don't think he ages. But always been class act, good guy, takes care of his players, just kind of really cares about them. So really enjoyed my time with him.
Well, I got to admit, if you say if he doesn't age, if this year doesn't age him just a few years, I'm not sure if anything ever.
Just the top of his head is balding quite a bit. You look behind the headset. Yeah, that's the only place to show it.
Dr. Guillaume Dumont joining us this morning. And now, if I understand this correctly, you specialize in hip injuries. Is that correct? An athletic hip is more specific to what you're familiar with. It's an injury maybe similar to what Bo Jackson had?
That's a good example. So Bo Jackson probably made the athletic hip injury famous. There's obviously been numerous examples since then, but one of the more recent ones being Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama. Those were some of the more memorable hip injuries. But hip injuries are...
Make sure you're on mute there so everybody can hear you.
They're there. Sometimes they're just little muscle strains, bruises. But sometimes you can get something more serious that affects the joints, the bones, and the cartilage tissue in the joint, which you'll see sometimes with some of these cutting, pivoting motions, or even these offensive linemen like you guys were just talking about, getting into these deep squatting positions. Their ball and socket will really pinch that cartilage. It can end up tearing, so we take care of a lot of that stuff.
You mentioned Tua's injury, and that's interesting because news kind of leaking out this morning. I wanted to get Patrick's take on it when I can on potentially Miami trading for Deshaun Watson. Can you go a little bit more in depth on what you saw or what you know about Tua's injury there with the Dolphins and how hard that is to come back from and be the player that you initially were?
And I think I heard during the draft that people were worried that ultimately it was going to cap his career. Something about like no matter what, it's going to flare back up in a couple of years, or it's going to really prohibit his long-term career. I'm not sure.
A lot of speculation with any injury like that and a high-profile player. It really who's to know exactly the extent of it, but he had a serious injury because we know that it wasn't just a torn labrum, which is the cartilage around the edge of the socket. He actually fractured the socket, so he had a break in the bone. And so when he fell, basically his knee jammed and pushed his whole thigh up, and the ball at the hip basically knocked the edge of the socket off. And so he had to go, actually was flown to Houston and got that repaired. So that, in a lot of ways, is what made his injury more serious. Now, obviously, he has the best medical team, best medical staff, and there's a lot of resources to recover, and obviously bounced back a lot faster than what a lot of people were expecting him to.
Dr. Guillaume Demont joining us this morning, orthopedic surgeon here at Prisma Health at Prisma Orthopedic. Also a reminder, you can go and check out their Black and Blue Clinic this coming Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., 101 Business Park Boulevard. That's Prisma Health Orthopedics over there that you can catch up and talk with them regarding any injuries. It's a walk-in clinic for acute athletic injuries during football season. No appointment needed. Again, that is this coming Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., 101 Business Park Boulevard in the Northeast. That is their Black and Blue Clinic, Prisma Health Orthopedics. When you mentioned the Tua injury, from what you saw, I know you probably didn't go in and study all the x-rays. How similar was it? The Bo Jackson injury was devastating to me in my time. I'm 39 years of age, so I think you've got me by about a year or two, so we're familiar there with what exactly Bo Jackson was as an athlete and just how incredible he was. But how similar was Tua's injury to Bo's injury, or were they completely different injuries that we're referencing here?
Different. Basically, the joint was unstable. The ball shucked out of the socket. What we know about Bo Jackson's injury is that the aftermath of it, had a lot of serious complications because the blood supply to that ball of the hip died, basically. So the ball of his hip, the bone was no longer living anymore. And so that's what made him such an interesting example, because he then had to have a type of hip replacement to treat that injury. Now, that doesn't happen to everyone who has this injury, so obviously, hopefully, this never happens to Tua. But that's really what made Bo Jackson's injury pretty substantial. The bone died after the injury.
Was that like just a super rare type of deal that no matter what, it was going to be kind of a career ender, or has something changed medically that if that same thing happened now, it could be treated?
And honestly, when the ball shucks out of the socket like that, we really don't have any great control of whether that blood supply, which is nourishing the bone, survives or not. Some of it is just chance. You really kind of obviously getting the ball back into the socket as quickly as possible is really important. But you just don't know until a little bit of time goes by sometimes whether that's going to happen or not.
Dr. Guillaume Demont joining us this morning. Doctor, one of the things I was reading that I find interesting, players, athletes, bigger, faster, stronger these days than they were even when you were in college. One of the things I was reading, and you can confirm or deny this, that the prevalence in these injuries, hip injuries, is increasing. Have you seen that? Do you see that in your line of work, especially maybe in the younger generation, the high school, or even going further down into the JV or rec leagues? Do you see hip injuries becoming more common now as players? Again, the training is different. Guys are getting bigger, stronger, faster. Do you see this in your line of work?
We're certainly seeing a lot more hip injuries. It's a combination of two things, in my opinion. Number one, they are faster, they're bigger, they're cutting, pivoting at, with higher torque around their hips. But also, we're just identifying these things more. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, nobody was even treating labral hip injuries, which is what a lot of these things are. And so they got diagnosed with hip flexor strains, and they kind of get a pat on the back, and you just kind of keep going whenever you feel a little bit better. But we're a little bit more diligent now. We have more technology to identify these things, and so you're finding out about them at a higher rate as well.
He's Dr. Guillaume Demont, former offensive lineman at Tennessee, now with Prisma Health Orthopedics as a fantastic doctor over there. Doctor, before we let you out, I think Patrick and I need to know, golf balls or mustard? Better to throw at Lane Kiffin or any opposing head coach that you're not a fan of? If you've got to choose one, is it a golf ball, or do you go to and try and stain the shirt with a nice mustard stain?
Mustard bottle, because honestly, when's the last time you went to a football game and didn't bring your own mustard? I do it every time. So
Heinz or French's?
You got it available. So
Yeah, Heinz. Patrick needs to know Heinz or French's. What gets taken to the games?
French's.
That's the classic yellow. You got to go with the French's.
Doctor, good luck to your Tennessee Volunteers. They're out of Alabama this weekend. Nick Saban doesn't put up with any of that, and plus, everybody knows getting mustard into an Alabama game, very, very difficult. But good luck to your Volunteers. Thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. Take care. Dr. Guillaume Demont joining us this morning. on the Low 70 phone line to talk about athletic hip injuries. Big thanks to him. Very knowledgeable there. We'll return. We'll talk more about mustard versus golf balls if you're taking something to a game this weekend and how you should treat the opposing head coach. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
That's how we do sports. 107.5 The Game. Feel free to call, complain, wish.
You should call that radio station and let it happen.
Remember, we are free of charge.
All right, so y'all were able to hear that okay.
Traffic
Jen
center.
is doing some work in there to make sure that we're okay and getting all that through. All right, what was when you plugged that in to your? Well, here, did you go in and change the sound? Did you look at the?
It wouldn't even pop up as a microphone. The thing doesn't even go perfectly into my computer.
Oh, really?
It's like weirdly sized.
Gotcha. Okay. We get to the bottom of it, Troy. We get to the bottom of these questions.
But definitely good call on the Frenches.
What is?
Yeah, it seems fair.
Why are there two of these?
Wait a minute. What now?
There's another one of these up here.
Well, that one goes so. Yeah, but wait a minute. So that's running from the sound.
No, this is a different one.
That's the same cord, though.
No, it's not. Look at this thing.
Oh. Well, no, then that's just all.
So
I don't know what those are, but
there's just one on every.
Yeah. All right. Now, what you would need to do though is wait a minute. Did you take the wrong one?
No.
Well, this is the one.
Yeah, that's one. I plugged the one.
Oh, you plugged that one. Okay. No, it's not spinning anymore. So that's something.
This would be the same. Yeah. So it just doesn't pop up as pops up as headphones. Pops up as headphones. Because it's in my headphone dock.
All right, so
It's headphones.
wait, go to right there to the speaker.
This is my computer speaker.
All right, good.
So right now it's playing this, but it's not.
Wait a minute, go back. That was kind of what he had, and then.
Well, here, I guess if we change this to program 1.
No, it should be program 3.
I know, but if I play it, we'll know it's working if I switch this to program 1 and we hear commercials.
Yeah.
And I do not.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, my volume is on. I do not hear commercials.
Yeah. Bunch of real smart guys in here working.
Such a great photo op opportunity.
Yeah, you're missing all the great opportunities. I don't think we're gonna be able. I don't think I'm gonna be able to record Landon this morning. I thought he might. His dad was texting me, but yeah, it looks like he's got a meeting. I don't know. It doesn't look like it. He's just. I mean, he's getting ready for a playoff game. There's a lot there. We're gonna get him. I've actually got him. I've got a couple lined up. We'll sit down for a few minutes after this. But I've heard some suggestions. Patrick Argyle is, by the way, now sitting over there in that other lobby, our guy that we have every morning.
Just sitting there.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Oh, super nice.
He is. He comes in and says, but he sings. It echoes in the parking garage. It's funny. I'll hear it. Like, oh, he's around somewhere. So you'll have just a little bit of a minute.
All right.
Coming up in about 25 minutes, Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, will join us. We'll see what his picks for the weekend are and what he likes regarding potential games for you to take a chance on. Last week, Brian Edwards, very good. He was all over it for the most part. He had Syracuse, he had California, did not get that Texas A&M Missouri over, but he had Minnesota as well. So we'll catch up with him in about 25 minutes. Coming up in about 45 minutes, my good buddy, Kerry Tharp. Doesn't matter how he feels. He's my good buddy. I don't think he's responded to my Facebook friend request just yet, but I'm sure he'll get around to it. He's busy guy. We're busy as well. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. We'll do more of that in hour number 3. How about that? You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Have you wanted to speak in language but thought it would be too difficult or take too much time? Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to learn your job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases, then sentences gradually get more complex. Spaniard passes through short conversations about real-life topics, and with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Oh, I see.
This is next one. Minus stars and others. This football season, we're offering the whole 9 yards of content. Experience with reliable fans and nights. You can tell that needs fixing now, or what we're the postseason. We are locally owned and operated in the Philippines, and we have our local community. That's UK Radio Community on MySpace Radio 5.
Sorry, too much work going on all of a sudden. Oh, Jen's removed herself. Patrick staring menacingly at all of you in the just staring at you, wondering what you're doing. You're staring at us. We're staring at Patrick staring at you. I'm trying to do 2 different things here at one time. Very good.
COVID hospitalizations of young people have tripled since the start of summer. So talk to your doctor if you've got vaccine questions. made easier at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Did you know some vehicle manufacturers intend to be fully electric by the end of the decade? King Builders remains committed to staying ahead of the curve with technology, quality, and affordability. That's why the garage is now going to equipped with electric vehicle charging ports as a standard feature in every one King Builders home. They see the future of home building and the importance of sustainability. Learn more about
All right. Hopefully Brian Edwards is awake. I have now texted him and sent him a direct message. He is an hour behind. Probably should have sent him a message last night to remind him. That one, it would be nice if that one worked. I do agree. Patrick works hard. He's been up. He works hard. He has been up all morning. I'm wondering if I should call Brian Edwards right now. Yeah, but I've texted him and I've sent him a direct message, and I want it because together at 7 a.m. his time.
Maybe set a 7:15 alarm.
Maybe he did. I feel like he gets up and does some other things, but
he does a lot of radio hits, right?
I don't know, but I mean, I think he does, but I don't know. I'll call him this way because that is a segment I'd like to make sure we have. Yeah, we do it. But maybe his phone ringing, or he might, as you said, he also could. I don't think he's doing another radio hit, but
just piece by piece of this thing is popping up. We have a toolbar, kind of.
Slowly.
Spin all black screen. The start button is visible. Can't be clicked.
I'm a little bit closer to my computer, Jim. The computer we normally use, that's what we're talking about, has been out, and then Jen's having to help a little bit with the audio. That does help, but
no home Caps games this year. I'm probably going to go to one in Nashville in April. Hopefully, we'd like to see a Hurricanes Capitals game.
a lot of people helping out this morning. John in Camden. I choose the mustard, but Alabama fans should get boxes of Tide detergent, of course. Take the detergent out and spin them all in sequence. Roll Tide. Mustard, that was the big question. Raphael weighs in. What if, here's a conspiracy theory for you. What if nobody brought in a mustard bottle to the Tennessee game, but instead a vendor decided to throw it himself? But I don't think the hot dog
guys are walking up and down the stands with hot dogs, mustard, and ketchup. Like, I feel like you still get the packets. Yes?
I could see the guys going.
A vendor?
I could see the vendors having a
No,
having a bottle.
because it would take too long for to like doctor up somebody's thing. Plus the whole touching the bottle that people touch. I don't know.
They're quick.
They are. Yeah. Don't sleep on the hot dog vendors at a stadium. I could see where they're ready to
But
kind of have the holsters there with the ketchup and the mustard and ready to go. And
Yeah.
just have the stand right there in front of you.
How does that job work? Do they buy all the hot dogs at the beginning of the night, and then everything they make is theirs, or do they have to pay?
I think they weren't, but also I haven't seen a hot dog vendor wandering up and down the aisles of a football game in years. I think
No, more
last time I
baseball.
was at an Orioles game, they were doing it.
the Orioles. Maybe that's a baseball thing.
I think it's a baseball thing. Yeah. Really? Yeah, it could be. Maybe they're. I don't know. But did you guys see the SEC shorts?
I did.
That was pretty funny about the Tennessee security people.
Yeah, in a bag. Who throws a sock of nickels at somebody?
Right.
Apparently, a sock of nickels got thrown onto the field.
I didn't know if it did or did they just kind of make that up.
Like who? Yeah.
It's like a prison move, I think.
Well, that's somebody else told me that person clearly had been in prison if they knew to throw a sock of nickels at somebody.
Isn't that what happened to Whitey Bulger?
Is it? I never watched that movie.
It's not in the movie. I'm pretty sure that's how he died in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look into that. All right. So an informative program this morning.
I could be wrong about that.
Okay, we've really kept you in the loop. We've talked cars, Porsches. That, by the way, came from a national image likeness, a name image likeness deal for Ty Washington, a point guard for the University of Kentucky, who signed a Porsche deal with a dealership in Louisville, Kentucky. That got us talking cars. Dr. Guillaume Demott joining us this morning, former offensive lineman at Tennessee, now a doctor over at Prisma Orthopedics. He joined us, and since he went to Tennessee, we had to ask him about whether, yes?
It was padlocks inside of socks.
Okay.
Because I don't think the nickels could be at all.
We do, yeah. We've covered it. Jason on the live stream says you guys do it all. We do. We give you a lot of information on this program.
What percentage of that information that we give is really of any value?
Well, I'm hoping this is the part of doing an early morning radio show, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And you see this if you go on the live stream. If you go to the YouTube page and you go on the live stream page, you go 1075 The Game on YouTube, or you can go to our Facebook page. And you're watching me slightly panic now because doing the morning show, things like this that are currently transpiring happen. Brian Edwards is supposed to join us every Thursday at 8:20 in the morning. Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com. And Brian lives kind of in the panhandle of Florida, so they're an hour behind us. So it's technically 7:07 his time. I'm not 100% sure he's awake right now. Why are you making that face?
The Panhandle is on Central Time?
That's what he told me.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what he told me. I didn't think so either because I thought I crossed over the Panhandle somewhere going into the Alabama line. But Brian told me he's an hour behind us.
Look behind you.
I don't want to. I'm terrified to. I will use the live stream. Oh.
Okay.
Just say it.
Painter. Yeah, like.
Well, the sailor's hat.
Maybe a sailor's hat, and then like painter's overalls or
Hey,
something. I don't know.
You don't see that on Lake Murray.
See, it just was a curious sight. I'm so sorry. That was.
I thought somebody was
China.
standing. We're back in studio for those that don't know. There's a person wandering down across the street on the other side of the street since it's radio, and even on the live stream you can't really see it. And I don't know exactly what that person is doing or wearing. They're clearly not listening to the show. But yes, very entertaining. I was terrified somebody was standing right behind me again, staring over my shoulder, watching the televisions here. Yeah. In the studio here. 803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning if you'd like to. Again, you can do so via the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. The live stream brought to you by Buford Lending. You can join us on that and weigh in. Alan, Jim, Jason, all weighing in on that. We've had other people, RL, weighing in. He does say the Florida Panhandle time zone changes right at the Georgia-Alabama border. So I guess that there is some changing that happens, and that's why Brian can do that. I'm years removed from my geography classes and time zone changes.
Yeah,
so.
The Florida Panhandle's weird time zone line. So there you go. Who knew?
Okay.
That's the weird. It says weird time zone
It
line.
actually
Makes me feel better about
titled.
myself. Makes me feel a lot better. So yeah, we're hoping Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider will wake up and join us here in about 10 to 15 minutes to give his picks for the weekend. Coming up this hour as well, Kerry Tharp. We know he'll be awake. He never forgets us at 8:40 this morning again to talk about the NASCAR picks for the weekend. In between, if you want to join us, 803-404-6100. Patrick and I have talked a little bit about the offense this morning, and I do think it's an interesting conversation as we head to the back half of the season. Talent versus scheme. A lot of people right now railing against Marcus Satterfield. Some of his play calls certainly, Patrick, deserve question. Nobody would say not. Even Marcus Satterfield has said he liked some of those back, that they were not good play calls. But some of it you do have to put on the players, right? Some of it's got to be either execution or it's just a flat lack of talent that's got to be fixed.
Yeah, and if it's the lack of talent, that's one thing. But I mean, they're not just criticizing Satterfield because of the play calls. I mean, the buck stops with him for the entire offense. So if they're not being coached up right, they're not executing correctly, things like that. Two guys blocking one guy when another one runs right behind them, just random little things like that. That all falls under the umbrella of the offensive coordinator. So I think people are just more skeptical of his overall ability to coach the offense, not just necessarily call the games on Saturday.
Yeah, and that's part of it too. The other part that and it goes to what you were just saying, is part of Marcus Satterfield's job responsibility is to develop the quarterback. And again, we don't know how injured Luke Doty has necessarily been. I think it's fair to question Shane Beamer about the injury reports at this time to understand just where Luke Doty's been at. It's clear now. Obviously, if he's having to have surgery, there was nothing in the game, Patrick, on Saturday afternoon, that led me to believe he had significantly re-injured the foot.
There was no time where he got up slow.
Yeah. And the point in that is, did he just step wrong and the foot was already, let's just say 70%, or did he get stepped on and it was 70? Again, we don't know how injured Luke Doty's been. And to be dead, we don't need to know. The opposing team doesn't need to know. Dan Mullen right now, it has nothing to do with injuries. They're on a bye week this week. He's not telling Georgia who his starting quarterback will be, Emory Jones or Anthony Richardson. So, that's a whole different story there. But again, there's things that we don't know. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning again on that conversation, or if you want to weigh in on anything else we've been talking about. Yes, many of you now weighing in on the nickels in a sock. York says they're used to club, not throw, or so I'm told. So yes, thank you to a lot of you who have watched one too many prison movies or have extensive knowledge of what exactly.
And I think it was Soap. That was in what's the Vietnam movie that I'm thinking of?
Yes. Okay, we're going down quite the path this morning. This is what Gamecock somebody weighed in earlier, that we have a tendency to go down a rabbit hole, and we have more than done that this morning. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can join us, Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Did you call Benji Getsy yesterday in Buford Lending? Did you get the free evaluation of your current mortgage payment status? Did you see if you could lower your interest rate, save money, put it back into your pocket? Did you do it? If not, you're missing a golden opportunity. Right now, interest rates still at an all-time low, and Benji Getsy and Buford Lending are helping people save $300 to $500 a month each and every day. Now's the time to give him a phone call. Let him do a free evaluation of your current mortgage situation and see how much money you could potentially save each and every month. 843-524-2404. Cash out refinances continue to dominate the refinance market as consumers are taking advantage of the increasing property values nationwide. Are you one of those? Did you call Benji yesterday? If not, why not call him today? Why not call him this afternoon when you got 10, 15 minutes free time?
Get a free evaluation anytime, day or night, with his experienced staff. 843-524-2404. Let Benji and his team earn your business. They want to earn your business. There's not many people out there like that right now that want to actually earn your business, show you what they're capable of. So give Benji an opportunity today. 843-524-2404. Buford Lending, Benji Getty, some of the best in the business when it comes to helping you with refinancing opportunities. Again, saving clients money right now is a great opportunity. If you haven't done it, call Buford Lending today. 843-524-2404. All right, and I cut the air on, which was a huge mistake.
I told you what found at Alpine Road, we have reported tire there. Also working for accidents at I-77 southbound at Freeman Road, Longtown Road and Lee Road, and Home Road at Malachite Road. Forecast, the wind is 81 miles today, 81 miles, 77 on Saturday. Right now it's a little bit between -7
Sponsored by Lowe's Foods. Visit the Highway 1419 Chapin Road is now a full-fledged breast, bacon, chicken, clucking, local 11 veggie chocolate trap.
Anyway.
Lowe's Foods. The grand opening of your local Lowe's Foods is here.
I'll have to remember that with people who are not in our time zone to.
When did you talk to him
last week? I mean, I just naturally assume, hey, he knows every week. Like, it's always. But I guarantee he forgot. Like I said, he does a bunch of radio hits. He's got, like. Yeah. But I guarantee he just forgot. And sleeping in, stayed up and watched that game last night. And I wasn't thinking about it last night, sending him a message.
Then JT treats you again by paying thousands over book value for your trade. You get really what you paid for. You won't stare at JT with your credit issues. He's the credit.
I just tried calling Brian again. He ain't answering. My guess he's asleep. If you want to try calling him, the beginning of the segment, see if he answers, and then let me know if he picks up or not. I'm going to go with a no. That's a no. So if that's the case, I may see if he can come on tomorrow morning, which again would just, but because he'll do it. I know he just forgot, but. Yeah, that check that we're sending him, he'll start remembering. I forgot about that. Yeah. If they did, they came way back. They won by a point. They were down 16 at halftime.
They went on a 22-0 run. More? 24 run. The third quarter. It's cool.
We wouldn't be doing our job as a morning sports talk show if we did not give you your Wednesday night update from the NBA. I mean, we just wouldn't be doing it, would we, Patrick? We got to give the score updates, right?
People love the NBA.
People love around the NBA. Yeah, this town is an NBA town, and we wouldn't be doing you justice if we didn't tell you last night the Charlotte Hornets, what did they rally for? They were down 16 at halftime.
Yeah, I don't know what they rallied from, but it must have been 22 or 23 because they went on a 24-0 run in the third quarter to take that first lead of the game.
LaMelo Ball, 31 points last night. Your Charlotte Hornets, 123. Indiana Pacers, 122. Take that, Pacers. Didn't want any of Charlotte in Charlotte last night. So now you can all get fired up. Forgot to mention that we should have been updating that every hour. You would have loved that. I would have loved to see the text line if we just kept you updated. Chicago over Detroit last night as well. Zach LaVine, 34 points. Let's see. Anything else happened last night as I scroll through? New Orleans played. New Orleans got beat by 20 last night by Philadelphia. The Ben Simmons-less Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid with 22. Anything else happened in the NBA we should report, Patrick?
I don't know.
No, you don't know?
No, I don't know. I didn't watch any.
Patrick didn't watch any. Patrick was with the rest of you. He was not watching. PJ Dozier last night for the Nuggets, 8 minutes, 1 of 3 from the field. 21 minutes. I'm looking at Austin Rivers' stat line. PJ Dozier much better than Austin Rivers last night. Dozier last night, 21 points, 3 of 4 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3-point range. 10 points for PJ Dozier last night. He also had 5 rebounds in that game, an assist and a steal. He filled up the box sheet last night.
All I know is that Jaylen Brown had a monster game because he got me 82 fantasy points.
There you go, folks. There's your NBA update. You all NBA crazy fans out there. We'll continue to do that throughout the season. I was looking to see, did the Hawks play last night? The Hawks didn't play last night. I was looking to see if AJ Lawson did anything as well. 803-404-6100. Yeah, we would. We're hoping. We're hoping that maybe Brian Edwards will wake up and join us. This is what happens when you do a morning show and you ask somebody who's an hour behind us to join us.
If that doesn't happen, then there's a lot of conversation going on. People really latched on to the beating other people with socks and pillowcases full.
I am either happy.
Coins. So.
Oh, you guys will like this. Thank you, Rob. Rob's listening in his car. He says, "Hey, Will, I just drove." He's weighing in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. He says, "Hey, Will, I just drove past the guy on Gervais Street. He's wearing a sailor hat, singing and dancing, and I saw him doing it yesterday as well." That is our on-the-scene Cool Care Heating and Air text reporter, Rob, weighing in. If you see stuff out there on the streets and you want to weigh in via the text messages as well, 803-404-6100. That is. And dancing.
Love. Yeah.
Do you want to go back down the path of Full Metal Jacket or good?
No, but that was the movie that I was thinking of.
Full Metal Jacket. It was crazy.
You seen it?
I've seen about half. I've seen all I needed to see of it to know that I didn't need to see the second half. Who was it? What's the well-known director? It's a well-known director, isn't it?
Was it? Who did direct it? I don't know.
I want to say it's a well-known director that Stanley Kubrick.
Oh,
Stanley Kubrick, yeah. So there we go. Yeah. All right.
What else has he made?
I no idea.
In 2001.
Okay. All right.
He also made The Shining. He also made
The Shining. Okay. So there's we've taken you down a path this morning of Full Metal Jacket. We've offered you some NBA scores.
I got beaten for eating donuts too.
That's
why you got beat with pillowcases.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So there'll be donuts tomorrow. Friday is Donut Friday in the studio. Everybody knows that. That is a well-known portion of the early game that will never change. It is Donut Friday in the studio. 803-404-6100. Boy, have we taken you down a path in this particular segment in regards to both NBA discussion and Full Metal Jacket. Some other stuff from last night again. Coastal Carolina, if you didn't stay up late enough, Coastal Carolina last night loses on a last-second kick from Appalachian State, 30-27. Coastal Carolina was ranked 14th. That was the first game Coastal Carolina played against a ranked team this year, so that certainly had something to do with playing a much more difficult game. Chase Bryce fantastic last night. Former Clemson standout. We've had a couple of Clemson fans weigh in this morning saying they wished Chase Bryce was still wearing that Tiger orange. Chase Bryce last night throwing for 347 yards, 18 of 28, and 2 touchdowns. He hit those 2 touchdowns early on in the game. Coastal jumped out on App State 14-0 in the first quarter. Patrick, you said you saw that portion. It looked like Coastal might run away with that game, and then App State scores, kicks an onside kick, gets it back, scores again, ties the game. Coastal would kick 2 field goals before halftime to make it 20-14, but Appalachian State finding a way. Frenzied crowd last night. They stormed the field. So if you're Coastal, that maybe makes you feel a little bit better that somebody stormed the field after they beat you.
Yeah, and you know what? I also saw ESPN play after that. They played the highlight flashback to the App State over Michigan win. That's just not the same thing at all. Beating a top 5 Michigan team in the Big House versus beating a Coastal team who has never won in Boone. They mentioned that, but they've never won in Boone before. So it's not like this crazy upset. They shouldn't. I don't think it was a storm the field situation. It's a 3-point spread.
Well,
who's going to stop you?
That is turned into, and there was news yesterday that we really haven't gotten into much because I don't know what to make of it regarding the 6 schools officially applying for membership to the AAC. And the reason I bring that up is with
a couple of the Sun Belt too, a couple of Conference USA to go to the Sun Belt.
The 6 schools yesterday, and I'll go somewhere with this. Give me 2 seconds here. Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, North Texas, San Antonio, Rice, and UAB, Alabama, Birmingham, have each officially requested to join the AAC, a move first reported by Yahoo Sports. I will admit this. I'm really interested for our state, for college football in our state, to see what happens with Coastal Carolina over the next few years and if they can find their way into a bigger conference. Because where I was going with that, App State and Coastal is turning into a rivalry because Coastal is becoming competitive. And from Coastal standpoint, it's going to be really tough to hang on to Jamie Chadwell regardless, unless you can get into like the SEC or the ACC, which obviously isn't going to happen. But let's say for a second that Coastal this offseason could find a way to get into Conference USA.
No, but the Conference USA just lost yesterday. This was yesterday.
That's true.
Marshall and Southern Miss are leaving Conference USA to join the Sun Belt.
That's a good point. So, yeah, you lose some of
that.
Sun
Belt's getting stronger, kind of. I mean, they're not really adding much. Marshall and Southern Miss doesn't do much, but the Conference USA is just losing teams now.
Yeah, I don't know who they'll go and pluck and look around. I'm with you. I was hoping, and I really, really hated yesterday the news that Coastal Carolina and even App State, who, look, I had a good friend go play there in 2000, and App State has always been that nice little program up the road in Boone, North Carolina, until they decided to come down here in 2019 and beat Will Muschamp. But the bottom line is I was hoping Coastal could somehow find their way into the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. I thought it would have been really cool to see Coastal and like East Carolina develop a rivalry, not too far from each other. That would have been really neat to see. It would have been fun to see Coastal maybe have some games against Temple, maybe work their way, have Navy come to town, certain games like that, South Florida. That would have been really neat for Coastal Carolina. And the only reason I bring all this up is because of the direction of that program and where they could end up going.
I just don't see an end game where they can. I mean, do they even have, like, if they were to get into a conference, do they have like the resources? Do they have the funding, the facilities? I've never been to Coastal. I've never been to Conway. I don't know anything about it, but it just has a small school field. It might be completely off. How big is that stadium? I don't know anything.
Yeah, Brookside. Look,
their field's teal.
Could you potentially, could you do something? Could you add? Could you put money in the Yes, I do think Coastal Carolina could do that to continue to build that program. Look, college football is evolving, and we'll have to see where it goes. Kind of like what you just said with the Sun Belt and the evolution of the Sun Belt and what may happen there. We'll talk more about this. We'll talk a little more South Carolina football here as we move through. We're hoping Brian Edwards will wake up and join us. If not, maybe we'll just move him till tomorrow.
Probably sailed at this point.
I would say at this point, yes, we're probably not going to have Brian Edwards this morning. That is the fun of doing a live early morning radio program. Not everybody wakes up to join you. I'm sure there's many of you who are well aware of that feeling. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. No, the WAC does not still exist.
What's in those boxes?
I'm not being funny. Chicken, biscuits, and I think you get 2 sides.
How much chicken?
I think it's like 8 pieces. Might be 12.
I mean, is baseball attractive to a lot of conferences?
Did AJ Lawson get cut by the Hawks? Am I missing? I don't know. Somebody just told me AJ Lawson is jobless. I guess he is.
It's perfect for real estate. It's perfect for now hiring signs. Take advantage of it right now. All fast signs, 781-269, a harvesting southbound. Silverados are back in stock at Herndon Chevrolet. We're ready to kick the inventory service to the curb. With new trucks available now. Trade in and trade up to a new lot and leave the stress of last year behind. Your trade will never be worth more than it is right now. Visit Herndon Chevrolet online at HerndonChevy.com.
All right, let's see. Now we'll just go with this. We'll just roll along. If I can get Brad on, we'll go for. I'll tell Neosis and he needs to do like 7, which would be 6:40 this time. That'd make it easy on us tomorrow. That'd basically be getting to 7:30 and have Brad, Chris, our pick, right? Let's do it. All right. Yeah, whatever. You'd be able to kind of just skate through the last half hour of the program, adding your input as you see fit on picks. Julius Randle last night. Yeah, I can see the Knicks play better.
That's great, John. Losing NFL effect in less than 4 months is outstanding. Since 2004, Anvil 400 has been changing men's lives. Like Jordan.
I doubt it's 5:32 in Vegas. I doubt the guy has emailed me back on what I wanted to know.
Anvil400.com for more free testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on Anvil400.com. Anvil400.com.
Well, last night didn't go well at all. Coastal was a 5-point favorite. So instead of taking the 6-point teaser, and basically I didn't need them +1. I started a parlay last night, but money line, thinking I'd take them and take one. Huh?
Just dead in the water.
And I gotta admit, like, as soon as I took it, I kind of found myself pulling for App State. I'm not really sure why, so that wasn't enjoyable.
Also free and free. So for each strike you put it out. Again, Rich Ryan says the team is happy to have a good game on the brakes.
I'll tell you that in the end, it's one of those days where just a lot of things that were put this game behind us. Move forward, focus on things.
Mike Williams will call all the action of the Broncos at the Browns on Tuesday on football. Remember to listen to the Westwood One schedule. Check it out all season long. Right here on 107.5.
All right. Look at Ray talking about Coastal Stadium. Angry people think we're the home of the shots.
If you were not really that, realize that.
We're a college football talk show. So we have to be rebranded as. We're a college football talk show.
No, we're sports talk show.
Well, we can be both, but with a heavy emphasis to college football. We can throw out some NBA scores. I did want to get your take on the Deshaun Watson thing, but I might save that for tomorrow early on. Get some good studying on right now for that. There you go. Well, I didn't realize Geno Smith was still in the league. Oh, that's right. We got Browns Broncos tonight.
That'll be an exciting game. The Browns are without Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, pretty much. Probably both their tackles, and maybe Odell, and maybe Jarvis.
Negative Patrick Brett just struck in the break. If you're on the live stream, I got all excited for the Browns and the Broncos tonight. And then what did you have to tell me about the Browns?
No one is playing for the Browns.
No one's playing for the Browns.
Case Keenum will be their quarterback.
Case Keenum, yeah, Patrick just takes away any fun I'm going to have because I was looking at the schedule for tonight. We do have the Braves. Braves, 8 o'clock, try and close out the Dodgers in Game 5 out in L.A. Your college schedule for tonight, Tulane is at SMU. Florida Atlantic is at Charlotte. That could be a future AAC game. Get fired up about that. Louisiana at Arkansas State and San Jose State at UNLV. There's your Thursday night college football lineup. Browns Broncos, which I was kind of excited for until Patrick just rained on my parade.
No Baker, no Nick Chubb, no Kareem Hunt, no Odell Beckham.
Yeah. All right. So there's Perky Perrette over there helping me feel better about tonight's sporting
Case
lineup.
Keenum versus Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay. I think I'm being a celebrity judge in a chili cook-off for Hurricane Builders tonight. You can come visit me at that, apparently. 803-404-6100. Ray is, we were talking a little bit about Coastal Carolina and the potential to move to different conferences. Coastal Carolina Stadium brought up. Let's get a little educational information from Ray. What you got on Coastal Carolina Stadium this morning, Ray? Appreciate the phone call, Ray. I mean, look,
I want to know what they have to settle with coach in terms of money. Do they have rich boosters? Like how much money, if they had the backing of a major conference, could they realistically throw at a Jamie Chadwell?
it would be, and look, and I'm doing this more from a standpoint of our state, the state of South Carolina in college football. I don't know if South Carolina fans would be thrilled with. Look, Coastal's never going to be in the ACC. Certainly not going to be in the SEC. You can say all the jokes you want, say all that, but it would be interesting if they could find their way into the conference, into a conference. Again, I use East Carolina as the example. I think it would be great to see a Coastal Carolina, East Carolina type rivalry. Now, North and South Carolina, again, I'm assuming that Greenville, North Carolina, and Myrtle Beach are not too far removed. I would guess 3 hours max, maybe. Anybody out there with a MapQuest that can tell me that have made that drive? I would assume it's not too bad. And it would be a lot of fun. It would be a good little rivalry. I would like to see that. I think it would be good for our state. Crazy me liking maybe something for our state, but I think that would be kind of neat. Of course, again, around here. Okay, 3.5. Well, not too bad. Less than driving to Knoxville and being pelted with golf balls and mustard bottles if you like going for that trip. And usually I do. Maybe I'll consider it more in the future. South Carolina, Texas A&M this week. We will talk a lot about that tomorrow. Obviously, the point spread still 21. We have not heard back from Brian Edwards of Vegas Insider. If you're wondering, he will owe us an early visit tomorrow morning. Follow Twitter on my Twitter account later today to see when I get him lined up for that. 803-404-6100. The best part of my week is up next. I get to talk about my great NASCAR picks. Jen has to sit there and listen to it as I now keep a close eye on my mic. Should be the great part of your week as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. LaMelo, there's a lot of yellow. Oh, check on. I wonder if my daughter is up yet, or I bet my son is. I know you're gonna be ready to bounce out of here. I'll meet with you and Jen. We'll talk about next week. I've got some thoughts to semi try to help you out, and then I'll get with Ed. Anything to do with that computer over there, I'll get with Ed because it does need to be working more for everything, and I need a better understanding of if something like that happens, what to do. There's no way that this is a South Carolina company, right? I mean, I guess they should be a South Carolina company, but okay. Now I gotta cut some stuff. But yeah, tomorrow we'll get your hot take on Deshaun Watson in Miami. Because RL weighs in right now. He says it doesn't make any sense for him on the live stream. But he just says, I mean, you can see it. The likely Watson to Miami trade doesn't make any sense. I thought his legal issues would have to be taken care of. I think Miami's just going to take a chance. Oh, yeah, did you see that? They found the Brian laundry. Well, they found his personal items and some kind of skeletal remains. I think that dude, planted everything is off in Mexico. Or
yeah, I don't think it's him.
I feel like everybody's just completely out to, I mean, that would make the least sense ever if he just decided to go off into this reserve and disappear. Oh, the Browns have got 2 straight. I didn't even realize they had 2 straight losses. Movie heroes. Patrick, I feel like this is a topic for movie heroes who are actually full-blown villains. Willy Wonka is the face of the article.
Yeah, that's about right. And he kills kids. tortures children.
I don't know what timeout London is, but this is their article. It says Tua. That's why we had the doctor on. It says Tua's health is not gonna work out. Alan, that's exactly what it says. All right, I apologize. Y'all will probably not be able to hear Kerry Tharp in this segment because Jen will be weighing in with picks. So I apologize ahead of time. Just a reminder, let's say that over the next few weeks you win a pick'em contest or some kind of picks contest, or you're beating your opponents by more than 20 some odd points and you want to celebrate. December 8th at Colonial Life Arena, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra is coming to Columbia. You can hear them at the Colonial Life Arena. That's a great way to celebrate. Who knows? Who knows? When you're up as many points as I am in a pick'em contest, maybe I'll be there Wednesday, December 8th, Colonial Life Arena, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. A portion of all tickets sold will benefit Family Promise of the Midlands, a charity that aims to help families experiencing homelessness in their quest to achieve sustainable independence. Tickets are on sale now. Again, Trans-Siberian Orchestra back in Columbia Wednesday, December 8th at Colonial Life Arena. Let's go out to the phone lines. A near and dear friend of mine, good buddy. He loves me. Kerry Tharp is on the lines, president of Darlington Raceway. It's good to hear from you, good old buddy. It gets you a little ready for the weekend. I understand. What real quick, when you were a month removed from Darlington, and for you, 365 days a year, you never start working. You're already having to play. What is it like when you get a month? Where is vacation time for Kerry Tharp? Mm-hmm. It's never, ever too early to go ahead and tell you May 8th next year, Darlington Raceway will be the site of the first NASCAR race in Darlington. And then, of course, the big one. That's the big one, right? The big one is
is Labor Day weekend, the Southern 500. I'm sitting here looking at the NASCAR.com Cup Series 2022 schedule. You can go and check it out. Next Labor Day, I know it's 11 months away. Well, I guess a little less than 11 months away, Kerry, but I mean, it's got to feel like for you at times, it's not that far away. There's so many things to do. We go. 2 weeks left here in the round of 8 this week in Kansas, next week in Martinsville, and I'll let you and Jen kind of break this down before we give our picks very quickly. Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch all right now are in. They're in as we head to the final 2 races of the round of 8. Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr., and Joey Logano. Logano in the 8th spot with some room to go here, 43 points behind Kyle Busch to get into the top 4. But Jen, Kerry, give everybody a quick breakdown here as 2 races to go before the final 4. With that in mind, let's move to the pick segment. I believe we let Kerry pick first every year or every race because he's the guest. And Kerry currently, just to give him as a reminder, just if anybody was wondering, in the lead with a commanding point total of 125 points would be me, Bill Gunner. Second place is Kerry Tharp. He's hanging in there. He is only 27 points behind me at 98 points. Reggie Anderson, I'm more embarrassed for both of you that Reggie Anderson has kept up with you all this year than anything else. Reggie's third at 96, and Jen is dead last 95. So, Kerry, who are you going with? Who are you taking this weekend? Jennifer? Yeah, I would prefer I would prefer you not pick Denny Hamlin either because I need him healthy and rested for the next few weeks. I'm gonna go with the guy. I'm gonna go with the guy this week that I think needs this the most. He's right there on the cut line in terms of getting into the Final Four. Give me Chase Elliott. Finished 5th in Kansas earlier this year. He's I think 4th in the odds selection here, but he's 8 points behind Kyle Busch right now. I think one win pushes him into that top 4 and secures his spot in the round of 4. Give me Chase Elliott, who I think needs this. I like your pick there Kerry, but I'm going to go Chase Elliott as the guy that gets it done. Kerry, good luck this weekend. Hope you get just 6-8 hours of free time to watch a little college football. Kick the feet up. Maybe have the wife bring you a dessert or something. You're a very hardworking man. You too. One of our favorite guests, Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp, joining us. We all have our fantasies, don't we? Patrick, tomorrow we expect a lot from you. Deshaun Watson in Miami, a potential. We got some picks we got to give. You're way out in front of me after the first. We still got to figure out what we do for the loser.
Yeah, we'll take suggestions.
We'll work on that tomorrow. Chris Deering as well tomorrow. Our picks. We'll catch up with Brian Edwards. You've been listening to the early game on 107.5 Game. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, peeps. That's it.
Yeah, that does make sense, York. It's kind of hard for us to get a pick from. Oh, hey, I'm last. So, yeah, I guess I should. York was chiming in on the live stream that person in last place should pick first, which sadly would be me. But a lot of times it's been Reggie, but we don't get his picks early.
Oh, yeah, York. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. See everyone tomorrow.
See everybody tomorrow.